volume on that. We're probably good now, I assume. Fuck it. Let's just go straight to the overlay right now. Wait, I have to... Is this? Ah, there we go. Let me know. There we go. All right. Hello. Hello, Hoopa Blom. Hope you're doing well. Y'all let me know if the volume is okay. The music is okay. Is that better? That's probably better. Can we do that? That seems pretty solid. Yeah, that'll be good enough for now. I would love to go page by page, but I would have to make an entirely new PDF, and that is not happening. So, like 2 weeks ago at this point, it is a good long while. They put out this fucking Andor Zine, which is... It's a for your consideration promo. Like, I cannot overstate how much the people... but both probably, you know, a lot of the executives, but also, like, executive producers and stuff, they really fucking want Andor to win awards. Which I get. They want it to be, like, legitimized. They want the prestige to be brought to the brand. I think there are a lot of awards that Andor deserves. I think there are some awards that Andor maybe doesn't. For instance, maybe I'm gonna make some people mad. I haven't watched like a ton of TV in the last year, so I'm not an expert on all the little things. But I do know that episode 209, Welcome to the Rebellion, is up for best writing, like of a television show. Like that's the Emmy. I think up for. I don't think the Emmys have happened yet. I wouldn't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff. But 209 is up for best writing, which I like. Episode 209, fine. It's one of my preferred episodes of season 2. I think it's mostly good at what it does. I have some complaints, but we'll ignore those. I do not think it is better than the Severance season 2 finale, which I think is written. It's not the best written episode in Severance season 2, but it is really well written. And I would give it to Severance episode, I don't know what, 210, Cold Harbor. I would give it to that any day. Like, so I don't think some people are like, Andor should win every category it's nominated for. No, it shouldn't. But it should win. I think there are things that does deserve. I agree with people like Tony Gilroy. It seemed very unhappy about this. Like getting like the performances didn't get the nominations that a lot of people felt like they deserved. I think that is a place where Andor really stands out, is in its performances. I do think it deserved recognition in that regard. Anyway, so they're trying to get awards, and they put out this fucking zine. And I want to talk about it because, one, it's fun. Two, I like talking about this sort of thing. There's new art and stuff, which is, you might have seen it. I actually made some fucking, like, TikToks, YouTube shorts. I don't normally do that sort of thing. I'm trying to more. Hoopa Blom says, Ellie truly has become an Andor hater. I'm not gonna say no. No, I do. I love Andor. I am not even... There is no part of me that wants to... I'm at a point in my life where I no longer extol the virtues of Andor uncritically, because I think there are enough people doing that. There are lots of things I like uncritically about Andor, but I'm not going to waste my time doing that, because I think people do that to an amount that I feel is misguided. And y'all will see that over the next few episodes of Daughters of Ferrix, where I have some shit to say. I don't mean to overhype it too much, because some of this stuff might take a really long time. So anyway, Andor skeptic, you aren't about to become Andor theory. No, because my critiques of Andor are extremely well considered, if I do say so myself. I have complaints, and they are deeply political, and have involved an amount of research already that I am, at the very least, fairly proud of. Anyway, they put out this zine. The reason I'm talking about this zine so much, one, I like that they did it. I think it's fun. Two, it wasn't like, they didn't telegraph the release of it like online very much. At the beginning, it was just kind of a thing, like, people had the link and people were like covertly sharing it around. I got it that way, thanks to some people who I won't name because I don't want them because they told me to shut the fuck up, but people I appreciate. You could take it in a way only someone who loves it would be. I mean, exactly. At the very least, someone who is fascinated with it. Like, the amount of time I have spent staring at Andor this year will only increase. Let's just say that. I'm considering doing some of the, like, research stuff on stream just because I need an excuse to actually get it done because I'm, like, kind of behind on it. But we'll see about that. I mean, you're great. Andor's great, but not perfect, especially season 2. Also, it got bricks and screws. That's where Star Wars theory, the only thing Star Wars theory has ever got wrong. Nah, the bricks and screws is cool. There's nothing wrong with visible fasteners in Star Wars, but I do think it should be creatively done. Anyway, I like that this thing is released online. I like that it is freeware. If there was more published freeware like this, I would talk about it on stream. Oh, whoops. I would talk about it on stream. Just period. Like, they're gonna do the Art of Andor next year, which, at the publishing panel in Celebration, I believe that was one of the ones that was live streamed, and you can, maybe I'm misremembering, maybe I'm, like, projecting my own, like, narcissism or whatever, but I believe in the live stream that includes the Celebration Japan publishing panel, when they announced the Art of Andor, you can hear me in the background. I can't remember if I, like, shout or something, but that's what someone told me. Because I fucking want that. I wanted that for years. Everyone has. Because I think one of the strongest things about Andor is its production design. Pure and simple. Like, there are, like, a couple places that I think Andor's production design could have been better, but those don't bother me that much because that's not my thing. Cobalt Green 1138 has some really good critiques of what Andor does. They also, like, widely appreciate the way Andor looks because it has some really cool stuff, and it has some kind of bullshit stuff. Andor's episode, or Andor's outfit, the Kafrene outfit, up there in the bullshittier production design things that Andor did. I definitely hear you. But I was also not sitting very far away from you. Yeah, sorry. In my lukewarm defense, I didn't know it was gonna happen, so, which I feel like someone should have told me, but maybe it was just kind of a given. So, I'm not saying someone in particular. I'm just saying often when something like that exists, it, through the grapevine, people are like, hey, you'll be interested in this. That's what happened with Rise of the Galactic Empire. People were pointing out to me that it existed before it was properly announced. Well, people, like friends. Anyway, they made a zine. If they put out The Art of Andor as freeware, which they won't, because it's gonna be like $40 or whatever. If they put it out as freeware, I would talk about it on stream. I still might talk about it on stream, but I wouldn't be, I'd be like, fuck it. Let's just like go over the whole thing. I love to have an excuse to do stuff like that, but this is freeware, so no one's gonna care. Like, and I also don't. I don't think anyone would really care. Like, book copyright is not defended in the same way, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be. Well, I think American copyright law should be very different than it is now. But books should not be automatically less policed than like music copyright. But they are. but I'm not going to take advantage of that. I already play in some like gray copyright areas with like, you know, video clips and stuff, which is normal for people in this scene. I don't need to like really push it as like the center of a thing. I always appreciate Cobalt's critique. They argue from a position of knowledge that I couldn't even imagine to have. Yeah, they are fucking on it. And there are people who have been on it to that degree in like online Star Wars community. Cobalt is the person who is doing that now, in my opinion. Okay. Zine. I genuinely, I don't have like deep insight probably about this. I just want to read some of the more article-y stuff, offer some thoughts, and yeah, if you haven't seen the TikToks that I've made, I'm probably not gonna recap that stuff because it doesn't matter. Also because they're like 3 minutes long. All right, Rebellion, an Andor Zine. I think this is, I think it is really charming to use Spanish. Someone told me that they think that this is a reference to, God, what was the fucking song? Joe Arroyo. That's who it is. Spanish song, or song in Spanish, I mean. I see no evidence of that. Maybe there's like a cultural thing that I'm missing, because I don't like... I know who Joe Arroyo is. That doesn't mean I'm like deeply familiar with Joe Arroyo's music. I think it is just the word. I do dislike... I think it's really fun to use Spanish for the title. I think they should have used Spanish elsewhere in the zine. For instance, La Galaxie Regarde. That's my French there at the end. 2 years of French down the drain. La Galaxie Regarde. I do it both in Spanish. Do it both in Spanish. That's cool. That'd be cool. Like, dude, there's like 3 instances. I wish there was a little bit more non-English in this, and I wish it was Spanish. I think it'd be cool. Cobalt absolutely is, you know, presumably like the person who's doing that kind of work. I once made and periodically updated a graphic showing the full evolution of the Starbird, and I asked them if they have a better picture of the Gorman front symbol. There's a dedicated symbol for the Gorman front? Because there's like the geometric like octagon thing that's also on their money, and then there's the circle that's on the flags. Is that specifically for the Gorman front? Because I assumed that was just like a general Gorman thing. Anyway, I asked some people, including Cobalt, I asked people around what the fuck this background is. It's like 25. No idea. No idea what that is. No one seems to know what this is, because it looks like a projection from a from like a computer screen or something, but no one like immediately recognized it. So I think in order to figure out what this is, you'd have to search. Save Our Silk is this one over here. I said this in the TikTok. I don't like the text. I don't like the text. The artist posted the original one, the original art. They clearly did not add the text. I think a lot of Star Wars, like, especially like poster art, is like really lacking as far as text is concerned, because they just kind of don't integrate it in ways that I think it should be to make like a good poster. This is lovely art, though. I love this art. And this is the back cover, specifically, the way this is split up. Andor Season 2 pitch, December 2022. I think it's worth saying that this is probably not the full pitch. There are probably things that are not included in this pitch, because that's just how you cut stuff out. Like, maybe it's the full thing, but we have no reason, unless, I don't know. You keep stuff locked up for promotional purposes or for, I don't know. I don't think literally everything that comes out of a media company is necessarily bullshit, but I do think it makes sense for there to be omissions of stuff like this. The Gorman front symbol is probably not a symbol, but I do consider a part of the Starbird line of evolution. The visual aesthetic is there. I might have to go on your Twitter and find your diagram, because I'm I'm curious. I don't know what symbol you're talking about. And I feel like I should, but apparently I don't. Quick summary of the next / last 12 episodes. Our Frame, think of it as a 2-part novel. We're doing 12 more episodes to wrap the second half of the story. The one line, Andor is an adventure story about the rise of a galactic revolution told through the journey of a nobody who ascends to an epic destiny. Now that's the pitch. I don't think that fully describes, like, that's entirely accurate, but that's the pitch. When we return for Season 2, a year will have passed since the riot on Ferrix and Cassian's take me or kill me ultimatum to Luthen. He's now at the tip of Luthen's spear, and will realize how ambitious the network has grown and how much Cassian has changed already. Cassian and Bix, we let it loose, a passionate, complex, real love between two people who have been orbiting their whole lives and are ready now to make it together. We saw the power of their connection in Season 1. We'll lean into this now. They deserve a relationship worthy of the ingredients. That's a good line. Should I keep this down here so it's like free of the... Maybe. Yeah, let's do that. No one this season is exempt from sacrifice. Bix will face her deepest dilemma as she senses the strange pull of Cassian's destiny. In block number 3, they'll encounter a Force healer who will dial in instantly to his aura. Cassian can't escape fast enough, but the encounter resonates for Bix. She can't help replaying the Miracles of Cassian journey and wonder, what if the galaxy's need for Cassian is more important than hers? I have thoughts about that, but I'm not going to get into them now, because I would have to unpack a lot of bigger things in order to talk about that. Ultimately, she'll do more than let him go. She'll force herself to push him away. She senses what's coming. It's an epic decision and terribly sad, but there will, spoiler, be a ray of sunshine at the very end. I don't... Oh. My cursor is broken. There we go. They chose to make Cassian this very important special boy, and there are things about it that are good, and there are things about it that I think are not. So, there will be another romance in Season 2. Dedra and Cyril will find them living together. Their relationship will be no less complicated. ISB Director Krennic will order Dedra to abandon her pursuit of Axis to take charge of a horrifying program to prepare the planet Gorman for complete annihilation. Gorman, unbeknownst to all but a very few Imperial conspirators, is the sole source of a mineral essential to the Death Star's operation. I'm sorry I'm not reading very well today. If alternatives are not developed in time, Gorman will need to be destroyed. Taking Gorman won't be easy. Cyril has been increasingly curious why his girlfriend isn't more interested in his counterinsurgency progress, and utterly gobsmacked to discover he's been nothing more than a tool of the Empire's energy program. It's a toxic last-minute breakup that will send Cyril into the thick of the Gorman Plaza riot as the first shots are fired. All his beliefs have been trashed, his woman, his values, his respect for the Empire. He'll wander dazed as the massacre explodes around him, and then he'll see Cassian and Andor. Cyril will die in Gorman. He'll be celebrated as a martyr. This is interesting to me because Cyril is only kind of gestured at being celebrated as a martyr. You have in 208, Who Are You? You have Edie Karn, like, watching the broadcast at the very, very end of the episode, and it's like, these brave Imperial boys who died to... And that's not specifically Cyril. That's just kind of vaguely, Cyril did die, and so we are to presume he's part of that. But also, like, Cyril is not, like, one of the, like, baby-faced soldiers that was put out there. So he only kind of is celebrated as a martyr, in my opinion. Because it's not about him. The Gorman Massacre is Mon Mothma's canonical red line. That's true. It's this event that prompts her stand in the Senate chamber. She will denounce the Emperor and be forced to flee. Sorry. We'll be right there. The final episode of block number 3 will take place in Coruscant the day after the massacre. Bail Organa will orchestrate the politics that get Mon to the podium. She'll deliver a barn-burning speech and make her daring escape from Coruscant with someone she's never met, Cassian Andor. Sick. I probably can't send a link here. Yeah, I mean, I doubt it. I do mean the circle with the cutout in it. It got, oops, shit. Okay, it got the vaguest sense. It got, in the vaguest sense, the form down. In universe, I don't think the starboard was considered when designing the symbol. I mean, I agree. I think they were doing something separate. I definitely think from like a production standpoint, there's probably limited interest from production design in doing more to like foreshadow the Rebel Starbird because there is so much stuff there already. I don't think it would be like a bad thing if someone had like a good idea and implemented it, but I think there is so much that I doubt any designers are like, oh, we want to do like a proto Starbird. I mean, that's been done to death. Not that I ever really get tired of it, but the Gorman symbol was probably considered when designing the Rebel Alliance Starbird. Very true. Is Bix being convinced to push Cassian by a Force healer words indicative of free will or fate in the setting? Now, you know, you could ask, does anyone have free will ever? Within Star Wars, people clearly make choices. All of those choices are part of the will of the Force, it seems. Allegedly. I don't know. The will of the Force, in my opinion, is kind of just a metaphor. Like, I don't, you know, I think it is incorrect to think of the Force as an entity that has a will. And, you know, Star Wars usually doesn't. I think it is very clearly a metaphor, like metaphorical language. I do think Bix being convinced to push Cassian away by the Force healer is kind of indicative of her broader lack of agency within the plot. I mean, that is a choice that she makes, but even still, it's kind of not a choice she made. Like, it's extremely reactive and in service of there being Rogue One at the end of it. Anyway, it's it's one of those things. Sadly, as she joins the Rebel Alliance on Yavin, Luthen's exile will become increasingly stark. The larger movement he's spent his life working for has brought with it a new buffet of egos, betrayals, and suspicions. I wish I wish this were part of the show more than it is, because it's not that much, and that's because they ran out of time. But, you know, there is no Mon Mothma joins the growing Rebel Alliance on Yavin in Andor. That doesn't happen. Mon Mothma leaves Coruscant, and then she's on Yavin a year later. She does not join. Her role is actually never explored. She's just in charge, and it kind of feels like she's in charge because we know that she's supposed to be in charge. Jesus. How does one scale up a clandestine spy network? I wish the show was about that. Like, I'm going insane. Yavin will grow too big to trust, and Luthen's been a one-man show for too long. Paranoia is inevitable. I get that this is what happens, but Andor does not like show that. Yavin will grow too big to trust. Like, Luthen never really outlines his issues with Yavin. And most of Clea's issues seem to be a direct response of, well, they don't like Luthen. And the reason they don't like Luthen is not, in my opinion, well established. What made them not like Luthen? It mostly just seems like a vibes thing. Like, they don't like that he's, like, secrety and paranoidy, but I feel like this is all stuff you could have set up earlier in the show. If, you know, maybe if Block 2 had been less about, you know, spend a little bit less time introducing and establishing the Gorman front, or what they are at that point, spend less time doing that and do the nascent alliance before Cassian joins them, so that when we skip a year and Cassian has joined them, we go, oh shit. You know, have some of the stuff on Yavin in Block 1, have the Maya Pei dudes, the Maya Pei Brigade, have those people have not just be annoyed at one another. It's so interpersonal in the Maya Pei scenes. It's so, like, bitchy, and it's because they have faced this tremendous loss and they are starving, and, like, that is what pulls them apart. It is not ideological. It is entirely interpersonal. Now, is that realistic? Yes. But does it make for a good, like, overarching plot? I don't think so. I think if you had something in the Maya Pei scenes that is indicative of the larger problem of that the Alliance has with Luthen, that would immediately make the last arc of Andor stronger, just like unequivocally, in my opinion. Like, and all it would take would be like, you know, Barty, who's one of the like faction leaders in Maya Pei on Yavin at the beginning. You know, Barty doesn't like that Gertis is like keeping all these secrets close to the chest, and Gertis is like, well, I do it because we have to, because the OPSEC and blah blah blah. Instead, they're just people who suck at OPSEC. Like, and any conflict there is Cassian going, oh my god, you guys are like not being careful, which is the same thing he says to the Gorman Front like a year later. Luthen wasn't involved at all, and we skipped past being disentangled from Saw. Yeah, Saw drops off the fucking map in this show. And granted, Saw is not like Saw does not like have a lot of screen time, but he is a big presence. You feel what he's doing, and he's always kind of working in the background in Andor Season 1. He could have been a bigger presence, but I think it's fine that he wasn't. But in Season 2, he exists for the Willman stuff, and then just kind of shows up. Like, I think they could have done something interesting, which is that in some ways, Saw's paranoia, as is like his only characterization in the second half of Andor Season 2, Saw's paranoia is, you know, might be the natural consequence of what happened with Luthen. Expand on that. Like, explore that. Like, why is Saw just like a guy on a phone call? It's because he has to be on Jedha because they decided to set it right before Rogue One, but they could have given it a couple of months, so he could have been somewhere else. They could have, they could have pushed that a little further, but they chose not to. Like, Saw could have been on a job, and they could have said something about, you know, how the Rebel Alliance operates or ought to be, or, you know, when does Saw actually, like, schism from the Alliance? Because there are a couple of not conflicting, but, like, you could read a couple of different things from, like, Star Wars Rebels and stuff. But Saw could be any kind, like, even mentioned. Like, if Saw were mentioned in Block 3, like, him not being involved, like, Luthen brings that up to Claire or whatever, and Luthen's like, Saw, they kicked Saw out because, you know, do that. I'm begging Andor Season 2 to act like a television show. Because the, like, internal plot logic is mostly there for each block, mostly. But as, like, a season of television, it does not, like, follow through on itself that well. I'm talking about Andor Season 2 specifically. And as a result, it, like, means that Season 1 also does not, like, it is not this overarching thing. I think Andor Season 2 is, like, pretty good about its themes. That's one of its stronger things. This idea of, like, sacrifice and what that means. I think that is what Season 2 is, like, unequivocally about. But it is not about how does one scale up a clandestine spy network. It completely stops being about that. All of the, like, not origin stuff, but all of the, we are building this from scratch practically goes out the window. You know, there are some gestures at it with the Maya Pei stuff and the fact that Yavin isn't there and that it is, but Yavin isn't there and then it is. There's no construction. There's no development. I've been talking about this a really long time, so we might just kind of skim some of the rest of the zine, but I'm just airing all of my grievances. But anyway, Andor is not about how does one scale up a clandestine spy network. It is, I mean, I'm sure I've said this in the Andor review episodes. I'll say it again when I'm making, like, actual Daughters of Ferrix episodes about it. Andor Season 2 is about the cost of living, like, a insurgent life. And it is about that life. It stops being that. The role that the, like, infrastructure plays is entirely that role is entirely relegated to its relevance to, how do I say this? Its relevance to the individual characters' lives and, like, the toll that it takes, right? Luthen says, we've all been bent by secrecy or whatever. And that is about them, not about the secrecy and not about the mechanisms that require the secrecy. I mean, obviously there's like some of it. Like it's clear that they have to be doing certain things because the ISB does get them in the end and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Luthen's defiance will see him so discredited that even when he gives everything for the intel that will lead to the discovery of the Death Star, the information will be discounted as the ravings of an outlier. This is a cool as hell idea. This is a great idea that should have been in the show. Luthen's defiance will see him so discredited. I mean, yes, that does happen, but when? Why? Is it just because of the shit with Mon Mothma? That is not clear. And frankly, I don't think it should be because of the shit with Mon Mothma, because Luthen ends up being right at every stage with Mon Mothma. Now, granted, Luthen ends up being right by the end of the show, too. I think overall, the show maintains that Luthen is, like, deeply flawed as an individual, but overall, like, tactically correct, which is complicated. Clea will bear the brunt of this injustice. That does happen. Cassian will ignore the noise about his controversial mentor and break rank to source the rumor of Kyber Crystal and the rumors of Kyber Crystals and Gaiman. Gaiman? Fucking hell. This is why you don't do... This is why you don't consume... Anyway. Kyber Crystal and Galen Urso. Their sacrifices, like so many of our characters, will be epic. Great. This art is really fun conceptually. I said this in the TikTok. I don't love the composition. I think having these, you got these little guys over here, and like it's fun to use this still. This still from season 2, like over here, like that's cool. There's some cool ideas here, but I think that, and I get why, but the artist has clearly like either chosen to be like, the artist is extremely limited by like all of these like promo shots and stuff, and so I think that has kind of like they haven't put anything else in here. I think they could have put like some buildings or you know, done different things with the crowd, and they just kind of didn't. And I say this because Lincoln Agnew's art does that sort of thing often, and it's very cool. Like, I looked up this guy after seeing this. His art is awesome. It is so cool. I want to try to, like, you know, in GIMP, in knockoff Photoshop, I would love to try to, like, ape this style for something, to just, like, try to learn from it and, like, put a spin on it. I would love to try, like, an Andor-themed piece of art like this. All right. Let's talk about this. What was your purpose in making Andor? This is with Diego Luna. Getting to work with... To get to work with that family. The connections that I made in Rogue... Oh, hang on. The connections that I made in Rogue One were profound and important for me. So getting to work with Kathleen Kennedy and Tony, with many of the actors and team behind the camera, that was important to remind ourselves what Community can do. I think it is really important. I really respect that the people who worked on Andor are very proud of it. You know, like, Diego Luna is so proud of what Andor became. Genevieve O'Reilly is. Like, all of these people are so very, like, satisfied with their work. And for the things that Andor does well, I think that's perfectly reasonable. I think Andor is, like, a production of bonkers proportions. And yeah, I don't want to discredit that for all of the many critiques I have. I think most of Andor's flaws are like writing. I think it's got big like gaping issues in its overall writing. And that is like one thing. I also think there's some problems with the casting. Not because I think any of the people who do it are a bad job, but I think there's some problems there. And, well, you know, I'll talk about that someday. But those are, I think, the key issues with Andor. I think the execution of what's on the page is wonderfully done. I think the performances are phenomenal. I think it's a well-edited show. That's worth saying. People don't talk about that enough. But yeah. So, you know, I know Diego Luna's proud of it. I have massive issues with it because there are so many, like, what might have beens, because it's already so solid. But, you know, they're happy with it, and I think that is nice. Who or what were you fighting for? My son and daughter making something I would be proud to share with them was important. I think that's really lovely. In producing the show over the last 6 years, did you identify more with the Rebels or the Empire? That's a wild question. A mix of both, even though the most pleasant journey was when I was feeling like a rebel. It felt like being a rebel having to tell my family I was going to be so far away working on something they couldn't know anything about. It felt like being a rebel, being part of a community / team / group / family, sharing responsibilities and bringing our creativity to make the best show possible, where everyone had a voice. But at the same time, it had to work like a machine. It had to work like an army. Rigor was very important. I mean, yeah, we cannot... One of the reasons Andor looks as good as it does is because it had some very good decisions made, and there are some excellent artists on it. One of the other reasons is that it is expensive as hell. And it does have, like, to function on a really wide, or, like, large scale. When it felt like being part of the Empire was when we were working during COVID. That kind of dynamic with the testing and everything else had nothing to do with the creative process. That was a big deal, and it took a lot of time from us. Getting to those tents, the long lines, the distance between all of us, and the absence of communication and contact, it felt like being in the Empire with no emotions being involved. You heard it here, folks. Diego Luna thinks that COVID productions are fascist. No, he doesn't. That is interesting to kind of have those two, like, contrasting experiences. The sort of production model, the way production models have changed because of the COVID-19 pandemic still kind of blows my mind. What are the mechanisms of rebellion? This is with Tony Gilroy. Rebellion isn't only logistics, it's sacrifice. Andor is about what happens when normal people, merchants, daughters, lovers, spies, become part of something bigger. Nobody starts out saying, I'm joining a revolution. They get pushed. They lose someone. They start fighting back, and suddenly they've given up everything they love for a cause. For characters like Cassian, Bix, Mon Mothma, and Luthen, rebellion becomes a mirror. What are you willing to give up? Who do you become in the fight? Secrecy, paranoia, and layers of separation, fractured communication, coded messages, never revealing your face. These aren't just stylistic choices, they're the infrastructure of resistance. The audience watches as the revolution scales up, but still relies on these cellular tactics that keep everyone disconnected and therefore safe. Hello, Asher the Free. I'm glad you were able to catch the stream. Hopefully this is what you want to be watching, because we're not playing Disco Elysium yet. I don't know. If we're still doing the zine at 1 p.m. Pacific, which is in like 15 minutes, we'll switch over to Disco, so we can get some progress in that. I do want to talk about other things on stream. It's fun. Like, I like going over stuff like that, like this. It could be fun to, like, read articles and shit, but I also, like, I want to make progress in Disco Elysium. I'm thinking, as far as games go, I've been really wanting to sit down and do Papers, Please on stream. Like, everything I learned, forgive me. The real content is you. Never call me content again. How dare you? I've got this on my phone, and college football on the TV, peak bisexuality achieved. What's the game? Who's playing? Who's playing, Henry? You'll have to tell me, like, where they're from and stuff, because I don't know. I don't know jack about football. I assume, yeah, it's college football, so it's American football. No, I haven't looked at the zine, so I'm enjoying this, just playing some CDDA while listening. I don't know what that is. You'll have to tell me what that is, too. CDDA. Cores... No, I have no idea. What makes that even more powerful, the cellular tactics and stuff, is seeing someone like Mon Mothma trapped inside it. She's not blowing up train lines. She's hosting dinners, giving speeches, trying to maneuver within a corrupt system to undermine it from within. And that's the real cost. She sacrifices her marriage, her daughter's future, her entire identity just to keep the rebellion alive. Now, I think this is complicated. One, because Mon Mothma's family is not present for the most part after the halfway mark in season 2. So I don't think that sacrifice all the way comes across. I think it doesn't, like, somewhat, but not entirely. I also think, like, Andor should have let Mon have a good time with Perrin once. There should have been a chance for them to actually connect. And granted, there is, like, this they work together thing in episode 206 when they're going to go to the dinner parties or whatever. But I really, really, really think that if the loss of her marriage was supposed to be like a sacrificial act, that giving up Perrin does not seem like a loss. Let's just say that, at least in Andor. Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear has this really, it's this book by Alexander Freed, came out earlier this year, has a really, really good angle on Mon and Perrin's relationship that is complicated in a way that I'm not sure it is that complicated in Andor. And granted, it's set significantly before Andor is, but I don't know. I think that's a shame. I think it could have, to some degree, Mon's characterization flattens a little bit as the show has less and less time for her. And I think that is a real loss. It's the most terrifying form of courage, trying to stay inside a failing institution long enough to poison its roots. Credit to Mon Mothma. She did some very, very difficult things, and people like to take that away from her because she's a lady that looks like this. I think is a big part of it. And she's rich. And you shouldn't forget that she's rich, but Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, a very in-depth futuristic survival game, easily moddable. It's very much not for everyone, but I gotta roleplay my favorite I get to roleplay my favorite trans character in the setting. I'm making fanfic. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. You're making fanfic, Cog's churn. Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. I want to look at this on the phone again because I'm not figuring shit out on my computer. Okay. I see the vibe. It's one of those survival games. One of those. Death Road to Canada, but without the humor aspect. That's a joke. Henry. Oh, hang on. Oh my God, why is hang on, OBS is not showing me people's messages very well. Here we go. Alabama versus Florida State. Can't say I'm rooting for either. Hoopalom asks, have you played Papers, Please before, or would it be your first time? It is my first time. I know vanishingly little about the game, which is why I want to play it on stream. You can collect, I'm going to say blahas, because I don't know. What was the pronunciation that trans people came up with? I read it and I think blaha. Blahas aren't my thing, but in this game I collect them for all those lost. I salute you. That's very, very fun. Yeah, I never personally fucked with the blaha thing. I think it's cute. I think it's nice to have a thing like that. And I like how accessible the shark is like that. It was only 20 bucks when it was it was only 20 bucks at the time. If you're unfamiliar, non-trans listeners, the IKEA shark that's this big or whatever, blow high. I ain't saying that. No fucking way. Will you get me to call it that? I think Swedish pronunciation, but yeah, Swedish pronunciation of a gibberish word, right? Aren't IKEA names deliberately nonsense? Am I wrong about that? I have no idea. Anyway, trans people adopted the IKEA shark. Lots of them bought it. Lots of them have it on their bed. Sophie, Daughters of Ferric Sophie, has one on her bed. Maybe not right now, but sometimes. I do not own one. I have cool big girl toys like Ahsoka doll. and stuffed animals that are not in here. Here, I'll show you what I got in Japan. Hang on. I got a different fish. Mudkip. Gen 3 starter Pokemon. I'm not like a big Pokemon person, but I grew up on like a couple of the games, but I'm the person. It means blue shark. Most IKEA products are named after cities. That's crazy. Anyway, I got Mudkip at the Pokemon Center in, I think it's the one in Tokyo, right? I could be misremembering. Anyway, I got Mudkip because Mudkip is my favorite Pokemon. I was that kid that played Pokemon and didn't like all of the like fighting and stats bullshit and just wanted to like collect the cute Pokemon. So Mudkip is a part of that. I've wanted like a little Pokemon Center Mudkip plush for a very long time, but plush toys are so cheap in Japan compared to how much they cost over here. Like, this guy would be like 30, 40 bucks in America. And I probably paid like 12 at the Pokemon Center in Japan. So, and like part of that is like the, differing values of yen to USD or whatever. And part of it is just like labor costs, probably. But it's, there were lots of things, like lots of little plush things where I was just like, I do not have room in my luggage to buy all of these. So I got just the Mudkip. And that's, so my point is that I'm not above toys. I just never cared for the IKEA shark. Cindy Disco, a lol, relatable Pokemon experience. Yeah, I mean, now they have stuff like, I think Gen 4 on. Like, Gen 4 had, like, you can, like, dress up your Pokemon, right? There was, like, a mini game for, like, making them fancy or whatever. I don't know. I never played those games much. I did, like, a tiny, tiny bit. It lives in water. It's a fish. True. Yeah, I know it's amphibious. I know it's like muddy because it's amphibious. I know it turns into Swampert, which is groundwater type, right? And it's based off an axolotl, which, amphibian. But also, that's a fucking fish. That's a fucking fish. Look at him. Flippers. Anyway. I made my character lightweight so she gets drunk very easily. Wow. She's just like me for real. She's pretty much the ultimate trans angel, and I love her. This game lets me use that to the fullest extent. Let's go. Representation. Representing all of us trans angels. I say us jokingly. The orange things are its lungs. I thought they were its gills. They're its lungs? Is that how axolotls work? I thought they were gills on the axolotl. I'm not talking about axolotls anymore. We're done. We're gonna talk about Andor, and then I gotta bitch about Andor some more. Anyway, this is the part of the release of the 209 script, which they put out, which is very interesting. The like, I can't remember what's like script word for when it's not dialogue. I genuinely cannot remember. But whatever these bits are that like describe character feelings and like what's supposed to be going down are very, very like fun to read in 209, and I wish they would just put out all the fucking scripts. And Gilroy said that they don't want to because they don't want that to be fed into AI, and I just like to say that there are many transcripts of every Andor episode on the internet, usually based off of the captions, and those have definitely been data scraped to hell. So I don't think that they're protecting them from much, except people like me getting to read them. That's the only thing you're preventing, and so they should just do it. This is inexplicably a xenobiology channel. I'm not my area. I can actually, I have someone I could get to talk about xenobiology. They helped me with some of the biology stuff in trans clones. Shout out my friend Sydney Joe just started grad school. Seems like way too much work, to be entirely honest with you. But you know, I'm rooting for her. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous concept art over here. I wish I highlight this in the TikTok that a lot of these shots look like the actual, or a lot of this art looks like the actual shots in the thing. They should have had the fucking shot over. They should have had all the shots. Like, make it really clear that, like, do the every frame of painting thing. Like, be like, oh my god, it looks like this, and then they made it look like this. Like, do that. Why didn't they do that in this magazine? Luke Hull was the very first person I hired on this show, Tony Gilroy. He's our production designer and really the hub of everything. Every conversation starts with Luke. When you look at Andor, you realize just how much of it comes from his brain and his team. The design, the signage, the texture of the world, it's all real. Yeah, I think the way that the like aesthetic traits of Andor complement its like sort of the mechanics of its plot, I think that's really awesome. Cindy the Skull is calling, I assume, everyone in the chat nerds. I'm gonna pretend that I'm exempt. I talk about cool stuff. The design, the science, texture of the world, it's all real. That's what I wanted. A world that doesn't feel manufactured, that feels fully inhabited. And they, you know, they did that really, really well. That's, again, one of Andor's real strong points. I've talked about this plenty, this Coruscanti bodega. There's this page full of like these tiny props. I will be entirely honest with you guys. Part of it is just that I'm not like I think I would just like have to rewatch Andor to recognize most of this, but I cannot for the life of me remember what most of this stuff is. This is the same prop as this, which is the like listening device that Mon Mothma has in her office. This is, I'm pretty sure, from the general store on Mina Rao at the beginning of season 2. This I recognize, and I just cannot remember from where. Is it on Cyril's desk? On Gorman? Like, I genuinely don't know. There's like little coin things. Like, these feel like they might even come from the like Luthen flashback in 210. This flask? Where the fuck is this flask used? Is this like... No, like, cause Velen, Cassian toast, like the Fallen and all those people. You know, one of the best scenes of the show, in my opinion. But he pours from a bottle, doesn't he? Or is it Vel that pours? I feel like it's Cassian. Narkina intercom. It is the Narkina intercom. They definitely reused it though in season 2. So yeah, you're right though. It is the Narkina intercom. This is from the heist, really. Almost all of this stuff in this zine is from season 2. So, and I know part of it is that they definitely like reused props, but I have no idea what the fuck. This looks like the Death Star tape prop. What the hell is this? I assume this was somewhere in Andor for the sake of like visual consistency, but I don't know what the hell it was. The Empire at work. You have all these things. It's very silly because it's the Empire at work, and you know, you could be like metaphorical about it, but 2 of these are Dedra's casual looks. Sorry for nitpicking the zine, but like, why? Why? I love this like business suit that Cyril's in. It's so effective. Ooh, I get to complain about costumes. No, I don't have big complaints. Something Tony and I talked about very early on was like, wouldn't it be great if there was sort of a signature look for Gorman that's like the Gorman trench coat? It's what everybody sees when they're hustling down the street. They've got their fantastic headwear, a beret, a Gorman trench coat. It's sort of a thing that, like, if you traveled to Gorman, then you went back home and you had your Gorman trench coat, and people would say, oh my gosh, is that a Gorman trench coat? I like that conceptually. In execution, it feels really... I wish it, like, pushed the bar a little bit. Because the coats on Gorman are pretty, but I think they're a little bit boring. A lot of the Gorman fashion reads as if it is from a culture that is like Gormans, the ones we see largely read as rich in a way I feel like kind of dodgy about. Um, and I also like you have such understated colors here, and I just the Gormans are proud, but they're also like this colonized people, and I just would be I'm shocked that that's what they got. Like it feels too easy. It feels frankly too French. Maybe some different colors intertwined in the coat. Yeah, and I mean, I bet the physical objects themselves are like really lovely. Very mid-century occupation, Western and Northern Europe, maybe slightly sleeker. Yeah, I get what they're going for. I think this is like a cool like narrative idea, but I don't. There's less to it than I wish there was. I guess I really love, and obviously like these feel very like stylistically similar to a lot of the Ferrex outfits, but I like these ideas. I wish we had seen different types of people from Gorman. Like I wish we had seen more like the people who live in the country are like referred to and never seen, and I wish they had somehow been like a part of the thing. You have the bullshit of Tony Gilroy being like, "Yeah, I mean, I imagine Emperor Palpatine wears Gorman silk," and it's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. But in that regard, why doesn't Palpatine wear a Gorman trench coat? You know, um, Dedra's always working. Dedra is always working. She turned her relationship into her day job, which is crazy. Um, Desmond says that the flask is Mednog. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, that's why it's this symbol. I see. I see. So this is from. Is it from when they're doing Clea stuff? Is it from 211 or is it from 209 with Wilman? I feel like this is from 211, but I could be wrong. I don't know season 2 as well as I know season 1. Two sides of Luthen. Luthen embodies that, and part of that is that season 2 bothers me, and part of that is that I haven't watched it that many times. I still have watched it like a bunch, but like, it's only been a few months. Luthen embodies the wonderful costume and challenges of Andor. All of our characters have so many different versions of their personas. Indeed, with Luthen, we have what we call Gallery Luthen. Then we have Natural Luthen. I think this is really cool. I like the titles. I have already used Gallery Luthen and Natural Luthen when referring to him in like casual conversations. Luthen's costuming is perfect. I love how like stark the difference is. Oh, whoopsie. I think the juxtaposition is really, really incredible. Same thing. This talks about like pleated fabrics became a real sort of keystone to solving the costumes of Chandrila. They move beautifully. We did them in lots of beautiful sheer colors, soft fabrics that created beautiful shapes when the characters moved. I love the Chandrilan costumes. I think they're so cool. I like this. I think I don't love some of the Chandrilan costumes for like the wedding where I feel really aping some like obviously playing off of primarily like traditional Japanese clothing, and every Chandrilan, and this is supposed to be their like rich culture, and every Chandrilan is like white. That feels weird to me. But stuff like this, like where it really gets out there for the wedding, incredible. Mon Mothma's dress for the like dance scene, oh my god. I hope they do something at Celebration, assuming I'll be able to, afford to go to Celebration 2027. Not a guarantee. But I would kill to see this thing in person. I bet it is just stunning. I want to see fabrics like these have to have so much like texture for it to come up on the camera, that in person they must be just dazzling, just incredible. What's the chat up to? I hear fascism can be defined as the tactics of imperialism brought to the core. I mean, I know some people contest that, but I am really fond of that idea. Cindy the Skull refers to the imperial boomerang, Foucault's boomerang, the idea that colonial tactics will eventually come home to roost, essentially. You invent certain types of anti-protest tactics or policing tactics or whatever, and then you end up you develop that for like your colonies abroad, your like extract, where you're doing resource extraction, and then you start applying those at home to control your and by you I mean you if you're a ghoul. I do think to some amount there is a non-zero amount that what we in like the society I live in, what we tend to call fascism, which I think is a useful term, sometimes I think is a unique thing, but oftentimes is just colonialism done to white people. And I think Gorman does some interesting things with that, in that is clearly the type of imperialism that the people who write Andor were working with. But I also think Andor erases the ways in which that's not the worst of it, I guess. And that's not the reality of that kind of violence until it gets like to the most extreme. I'm sure it's a big part of why Israel is a testing ground for new tactics and technology. I mean, to some degree, yeah. Once you have those tools, you have those tools. I think Palps probably wore Gorman's silk when he was still Chancellor. I don't think he cared when he became an evil wizard full time. Exactly. You put it to words perfectly. I cannot imagine. Listen, Palpatine wizard does wear like nice robes and stuff, but he does not wear. I don't know. Palpatine's a goober. I feel like all of his stuff is custom, I feel like his textiles are like custom made for him somehow. I think Andor Season 2 should have made the point that Gorman was not the first Imperial genocide. I fucking agree. Andor absolutely acts like it is. And I get why, because it wants to put a lot of weight on it. But I think that is short-sighted, and frankly, I know we're talking about like space fiction. It is Eurocentric, in a way that is not just kind of like, inaccurate, but I think is like an actively incorrect way of understanding how fascism works. I think Andor is good at some parts of fascism and just absolutely is not interested in others. For one, no, probably the biggest thing, and granted, you would have had to be really, really fucking good about writing it this way, but Andor's not really interested in racism. Like, it has a couple of like gestures at racism, but it's always like racism as a means to an end, which is that is true for how racism operates. Racism is a technology. It is a means to an end, but it is also just a thing that people do. And sorry for spoiling stuff from the next episode of Daughters of Ferrix. The war in Iraq in the early 2000s, right? The war on Iraq. A lot of people characterize it as being about the resource extraction, like we went to a war to get their oil, and I do not believe that to be the case. I think we went to war and got their oil, and people benefited from that, and there were all sorts of, and that was like a big incentive, but we wouldn't have gone and done that war if it weren't for racism, right? Like, it was the lust for blood, and that in portraying the Gorman Massacre as exclusively about resource extraction, like, that is a part of it. Genocide is a tool in Empire's tool belt in general, just as a concept. But who gets genocided and why? And Andor is like, well, these people get genocided because they're on resource-filled land. And that's true, sort of. And you have this stuff about the like Gorman people and you have the smear campaign and stuff. That is important, but I don't think it's as important as it should be to accurately capture how that stuff functions. Gorman was good for Luthen's cause because the population is rich white humans. Very true. Very true. And that is the part of what Gorman is that directly applies to sort of Luthen's whole deal, especially Luthen's whole deal in like season 1 and stuff. If they burn, they'll burn brightly, is what Luthen says, right? But like, stress the fact that other people don't burn as bright. You could just say it. Make Cinta be mad at it. Like, anyone could have expressed that, and no one did. Again, I realize there's limited time in the show, but I think they do stuff that is not necessary. They spend time being methodical about things that don't pay off as well in season 2. So, using the fabrics for the camera to sort of find her through the chaos of movement and fabric within that sequence as everything descends into chaos. The dancing scene with Mon at the end of 203 is just like incredible blocking, and I really admire it. This spread just has this one like cinematographer's quote. I talked about this in the TikTok, so we're not gonna go over it. I do want to talk about this. I do think it's worth talking about. This stuff. I believe Janus, he's Dutch, right? Janus Metz, director of 208. We were very intentional about grounding this episode in history, particularly in the way authoritarian systems manipulate and control. The sense of surveillance, control, and the growing resistance was inspired by both the dark times of the 20th century, think Cold War, totalitarian regimes. That's interesting. Why didn't he say World War II? Why not just say World War, like, stuff, like, why not say the Third Reich? Is that too political? You mentioned the Cold War. That's weird to me. And contemporary issues around surveillance states. I know it might be because there are, like, several authoritarian states that he's thinking of, but, also, maybe Cold War totalitarian regimes. Maybe he's just, like, referring to the Soviet Union. I don't know. There was a very palpable energy on set when we were making something poignant within the Star Wars galaxy, but also in relation to the world we lived in today. Yes, 208 is probably the best episode of Season 2, I think. There are, I don't know, there's some things I really, really like about some other episodes, but 208 is definitely the one that stuck with me the longest. This is supervising sound editor / sound designer. The scale of it and the visceral nature of it required an equally intense and visceral soundtrack. It needed scale, emotion, and a kind of violence that evokes fear. And it's not just the battle itself, it's also the lead up, the preamble to the fight, that sense of dread. Jan Miles, editor. With the crowd horns, I wanted them to feel slightly discordant and repetitive as more Gormans filled the plaza. The crescendo of crowd chants and the ominous sweep of TIE fighters created an auditory tension that paralleled the visual buildup. The sound design in 208 is so fucking cool. Star Wars as a setting really restrains here. Yes and no. Yes, it is extremely limited, but I also think that some of the issue is not, in fact, Star Wars as a setting, but a lack of imagination on the part of the people making it. And maybe that is because of Star Wars, but let me tell you, I'm not a screenwriter. I couldn't write for something like this, so I'm not going to say that I could. But I do think if you got people... A big crux of my issue with Andor Season 2 is that I think that... I think it clearly comes from a really narrow perspective. I don't think that the creative team working on it are diverse enough to make it what it should have been. Sorry, I'm adjusting the screen. And it suffers for that, like really, really, really obviously. And I think if it had a more diverse bunch writing it, I think it wouldn't matter that it's Star Wars, you know? Um, there are some limitations to the Star Wars setting, and in fact, you can do stuff like this. I think the fact that you can do stuff like this means that there is not a hard and fast line, you know? And maybe I'm wrong about that. Uh, there are absolutely limits of Star Wars with doing political commentary that I wish people were like more cognizant of. But that being said, I think you can do a lot. And I think you can do more than Andor did. And I think the fact that people love Andor and that Andor gets high praise and that Andor is at least reasonably successful, people are like, Andor was a miracle. We're never going to see television ever like Andor again. That's not true. Andor was a miracle, and you will not see television like Andor anytime soon. But the like trend cycle and like Andor is going to be foundational. Unequivocally. It just will. I think it is reasonable to think that there will be people who are trying to tell stories the way that Andor tells stories. And I think that is going to pay off long term. I think it is weird and wrong to be like, well, I mean, listen, streaming is dead. Like, not dead, but like streaming is in like a fucked up place right now. So I don't think people are wrong to be like, well, yeah, Disney isn't going to pour money into shit like this for ages. Very true. But this is now like a massive part of what Star Wars is for some people. Like, and what people consider as being like peak Star Wars, it like thoroughly informs what people make, because crucially, Star Wars is made by people who are fans of Star Wars. Always. Even Tony Gilroy is more of a fan of Star Wars than people act like he is. He really enjoys Star Wars. He enjoys the bullshit. He likes playing in this world. I don't think he's going to do it again, but he likes Star Wars. And he writes like he likes Star Wars. And I in a writer's room, I do think if you're like a showrunner and you're getting a writer's room together, get people who aren't Star Wars people. That's fine. But like the people who are making decisions will always be people who like Star Wars. Not the suits, to be clear, but like the people making creative decisions. Gorman was good for Luthen's cause. Yeah. I think 208 is the highest rated episode of Andor. I thought 209 was higher rated, but I could be wrong. Also, sorry for referring to all the episodes by their like number codes, but because I've been doing stuff about Andor, that is kind of how I like sort them in my brain now. So I love this page. I love that there is now like here is how they have written these gore words. There's a very, very small community of people, I think mostly on Reddit, who are like figuring out the gore language and the gore writing systems. I believe there are two. I believe there are two different gore alphabets, is my understanding. Either there are two different ones or there are two leading like translations, and I don't think it's that second one. I say this as someone who's just like seen the conversations happening around it. Anyway, I like that they actually have this shit. I think these are some of the best pages in the zine. This part's kind of cool. So this is Giannis Metz again. I'm not a number. I'm a free episode. Unfortunately, they are all numbered. Diversity is woke, Ellie. I know it's woke. I do not believe that the people who want to like eliminate people like me will win long term. And the reason I don't think that is that you can't actually get rid of us. You can't get rid of trans people. You can't get rid of gay people. I think the greater damage actually can be done. Anyway, not important. I'm not comparing like bigotry. That's not what I'm trying to do. But what I will say, I do think there has been like a substantive cultural victory on the part of the right in that wokeness is unpopular. Not, all forms of diversity, not all forms of queerness, not all, I think we are still living in a world that is more friendly to diversity than at least like America in the 80s, right? But I think people online who share some of my political leanings, if they are not directly affected by like a policy or like an ideological thing, I think people, here's what I'm trying to say. I think people are really comfortable with leaving disabled people in the dust. I think people are really comfortable with leaving non-white people in the dust. I think, and by people, I mean white able people, right? I think white queers like me are increasingly comfortable with leaving non-white queers behind. And I don't think that's to say that people just straight up don't care. But for instance, I know it's just like not semantics, but it's quibbling over words, but the proliferation of the R slur, right? It has breached containment. It's not just Nazis on Twitter anymore, which it was. That's like the group that repopularized it to the amount that it has been. And now it's just common online. Like, I think people who share my politics are not as committed to them as they should be. I think a lot of people are really comfortable. And granted, these are like, white leftists never fully stopped being racist, right? We never cured racism among the white people. Of course we didn't. But I think it shows right now. I think people are really comfortable with like certain types of misogyny, like constantly, in ways that I think are distressing. And I think like, and everyone's like, well, you know, women should have the right to abortions, and they shouldn't, like, it's wrong that the like religious conservatives want to put women in the home and blah 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 blah. But as soon as you are like coming from a position of, I'm a person who shares your politics, and you're saying like, okay, now what? How do we include women in our politics? I think that is like a sentiment that is really looked down upon. I think minorities are kind of expected to take what we're given. I've been seeing this a lot from like cis people, especially like, forgive me because it's on Reddit, cis men talking like kind of down to a lot of trans people about like, I don't know, Democratic politicians like Gavin Newsom, right, who are not invested in any kind of trans liberation, who is comfortable having Nazis on his show in a way that is like, granted, I don't think even being confrontational with some of these people is worthwhile, but in a way that is not confrontational, but like collaborative. And you have trans people being like, this guy sucks. Like, oh my God, like this is like bad. Like this is bad. And I think there are a lot of and then there are a lot of people being like, oh my God, you people are never satisfied. Like, this isn't how they talk. I don't know why I give them Valley Girl voice, but like, I think it is really common for, I don't know, people online are not the breadth of political thought. I cannot emphasize that enough. Online leftist is not what leftism should be, and is not even the majority of people who have these ideals. But in fact, it is just the most annoying and the most terminally online, including me sometimes. But what I'm saying is that when you say stuff like that, I think it's really easy for other people online to be like, well, you're letting like perfect be the enemy of good, and I'm sorry, now I'm just complaining. The commentary has ceased to exist. Forgive me. We'll come back to this page. I want to see if there's anything. Okay, we'll talk about that page because that is my favorite page that we have left, and then we'll play some fucking disco because we've been going for an hour and a half now. Woke is good and often not as committed. Yeah, people often aren't as committed as they think they are to their own politics, which, like, there are ways in which I'm not, you know? I think people on the left are really committed to seeing themselves as the good guys, and anything that kind of comes in between them and that is a threat. And granted, that's not like exclusive to people on the left, but it is very, very present. I think a lot of people, like, that's like smug liberalism, right? Is like, I am morally correct. Ha 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 ha. Shut up. Stop being annoying. Someone who's relatively still involved physically in leftist activist spaces, thank you for going outside. Cindy, I appreciate you for that. I have to say that nobody I know IRL owns a Twitter account or uses spaces like Reddit for politics. That means that everyone you know IRL is a better person than everyone on Reddit or Twitter. To be clear, I do not go on Twitter or Reddit for my politics. My Twitter feed is almost entirely my Star Wars friends, and then on my private, it's like all Deltarune and Splatoon. It's like games and stuff. And then occasionally I just wander into the wrong places on Reddit. But like, I don't know, this discourse is still happening and I still see it and I still go like, oh my God. And I have like the way people talk about me, not about me, sorry. The way people talk to me, if I'm talking about something like Andor, it gets fucking nasty. Like, oh my God. People do not like it when you say that Andor might not treat its women well. And that's a fucking TV show. And I know it's because it's a TV show. Like, people are not normal about TV shows. But anyway, everyone, hypothetically, if I were a person who had gone to a protest, not naming any names, every person at that protest is 1,000 times more normal than everyone online talking about that protest. And there are like pockets of misogyny and stuff, but when you're not sitting around talking about stuff, the stakes change completely. So, yeah. Twitter is not real life. Twitter is not even close to real life. There are things that Twitter does determine because for whatever reason, there's still like a political and journalist class that sees it as the room where it happens. Sorry for fucking Hamiltonism, I guess. People still view it as that. I still view it as that a little bit. I have trouble. Like, I don't want to be anywhere else. I don't like blue sky. But like, that's it. The only reason it's relevant is because some powerful people are terminally online. Yeah. Basically, the moral of the story is get the fuck offline. Hoopablom says, we had a party in Germany that made sure their list for candidates for our parliament was 50% men and 50% women. They were ripped to shreds by basically everyone. That is based as hell. I think it's okay to have a conversation about like, should X version of representation be like percentages down to like, should the demographics match real percentages? I have no idea. But when it comes to representative politics, almost certainly, right? Like, almost certainly. And genuinely, I think that a really easy rule of thumb for, is this thing male dominated? Is it more than 50-50? Men, women. And lots of things are. Lots of things are unbalanced in that way. Easy. The math is so easy when it comes to men and women. And it is so easy to have women as a part of your coalition and stuff. Probably responding to politics in person, Cindy says 1000%. Politics needs to be understood as what we do, not what we tell ourselves we believe, or what we argue about online for entertainment. Absolutely true. Which is, I mean, going back to me shitting on Andor, because that's what we were talking about before. I don't think Andor is that important. Some people are like, Andor is the most important television show. Nah. Like, maybe. It might have some effects on some people in a way that, but I don't think so. I think it does things that are really good. I think it does things that are really powerful. I think people who like art, I get on this soapbox every few months. People who are very familiar with my work have probably heard me say this a half dozen times. People who like art overstate the influence of art. People who like media overstate the influence of media. People who are making and consuming, I don't love the metaphor, but consuming media overstate the importance of media. The idea that what you consume, what media you take in, what products you buy, the idea that that is your politics first and foremost. You express your politics the way you express your, like, aesthetic taste. I mean, one, that's politics as aesthetics, which is an idea that is amenable to fascism. I'm not saying that all politics as aesthetics is fascism, but fascism is all politics as aesthetics. But it means that, like that idea that what you buy, what you consume is your politics, or is like the chief, like, expression of your politics, is like a fundamental ideal of liberalism, especially like proper, like, mid 20th century, late mid 20th century neoliberalism, where it's just about, like, you don't buy from the bad brands and stuff. And listen, don't buy from the bad brands, please. Like, I make a really deliberate point of, I don't buy products from Amazon. Period. I don't use Audible. And like that is a choice. That is like a deliberate thing that I do. And I don't think that makes me like a deeply virtuous person or something, but that is like my line. That is where my line is. I've drawn that in my life, and I'm like happy with that. I'm proud of that. I'm a vegetarian. I specifically do not consume things that are not aligned with my politics. But that's not activism. That's like me. That's like what I do so I can live with myself. That's about me. And my politics should not be about me. Well, not exclusively about me, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Hoopablom says, my main activism is in environmentalism. I'm active in that area IRL with a small NGO. I run our IT and do more. That's awesome. Good job. The reality of what we do is far from online, but we get stuff done, and we're like 20 people. Yeah, you can do a lot with 20 people who are like working towards the same goals, especially because a lot of the time, people who have like opposing goals are not as organized. Sometimes they are, but like if you're working on a local level, like, you got a good shot. Call of Duty has 2 women in it, all like in all like 30 games. Is that true? That can't be true. Surely that's not true. Surely there are more women characters in Call of Duty. Fuck it. There's a Call of Duty wiki, right? Call of Duty wiki. That's not how you spell wiki. There we go. Okay, we're gonna pull it up over here. Fuck it. Let's look at the Call of Duty wiki, everybody. Can I? Yeah, characters. Let's find 3 women. Wait, can I just search? Hang on. Where's the search? God, fandom is so unusable. What's the search box? Let's say female. Let's just search female. User blog female characters? What? Is this a list? Oh, no. Okay. Damn, I swear. David Section Mason. I'm going to assume that's a man. Frank Woods. Emma Kagan. Every Call of Duty campaign I've tried has you doing a little war crime within the first level or 2. Yeah, that's part of the fun, right? War crime simulator. People... That's why people like them. I don't know. Did you see Eddington? It touched on some of these ideas vis-a-vis politics as aesthetics. What the hell is Eddington? Is that a film? Eddington. Now we're just on the internet. It's a film. Eddington is a 2025 American neo-Western black comedy thriller film. Well, it's pretty, I'll say that. Oh. Pedro Pascal. Joaquin Phoenix. There's a bunch of famous actors. I guess I just didn't. Here's the thing. I haven't been to the cinema in ages. Like, probably over a year at this point. I would be really interested in watching this film. Wow, it's got weird reviews. I'm interested in it. Thank you for telling me about it. I assume there are more than 2 women in Call of Duty. I only brought up Call of Duty because of the new Folding Ideas. I watched the new Folding Ideas directly before getting on stream. It was very, very good. It was about COD ghosts and felt like a old ass Folding Ideas essay. Old times. I grew up in Seattle, and I've never ordered from Amazon or had a Starbucks coffee. Impressive. I've had Starbucks. It's if you're like a coffee person, it is nothing to write home about. If all you care about is a sweet drink, Starbucks is good. If you care about, labor, then, like, if I lived in a place with a unionized Starbucks, I might go to support the unionized workers because I think it's really awesome. I think the work that people have done so they can unionize as Starbucks employees is, like, phenomenal, and that's awesome. Like, that's a really good precedent to set. But also I live in Portland. I don't even know where the nearest Starbucks is. Because there are a million little coffee shops around, and they are all pretty good, pretty much. I mean, there are ones that I like more than others, but here all Trans Clones is primarily, though not entirely, about the clone character sister, right? And this is true. During the time when I started reading or writing Trans Clones, and I'm probably going to start doing this again, I started going to coffee shops to write because I couldn't focus at home. And I still can't focus at home, but it's like that's like for different reasons right now. I was doing it back then because my kitten was a menace. She still is a menace, but she's less of a menace. She's asleep right now. But I started writing this script all about Sister, like, pouring over all this stuff about her and her creation. And I had the 2 books with me, like in my laptop bag and all of that. And I went to a place. This is not doxing myself because I don't live near it. I went to a coffee shop called Sister's Coffee by coincidence. That's where I started writing the episode. I have a picture on my phone of, like, the coffee cup that says Sister's Coffee Co. or whatever. It's a good coffee place. Specifically that coffee that I want again. Sorry, that's not relevant, but it is a fun anecdote. Jonas Metz, director. In 2009, I shot the documentary Armadillo alongside Danish combat soldiers in Hemland, Afghanistan. I am going to be watching this documentary because I'm very early stages writing Daughters of Ferric script about the Gorman Massacre. I experienced war firsthand, and I want to convey the feeling of being in the middle of a firefight to audiences. The tension, the adrenaline, the fear. I wanted to put audiences in the boots of the soldiers and make the episode as immersive as possible. I wanted viewers to be with the characters, to see through their eyes and feel what they felt, to give a palpable sense of the chaos and desperation that unfolds as the violence starts. If you're really paying attention during 208, there are all of these shots. I mean, these ones are really clear, but there are all of these shots where you can only kind of tell what's going on because it's just like bodies and like shoulders and stuff. And like there's like focus, like you can see like a soldier like moving their head or whatever. The shots aren't pointless, but it really gives this feeling of like you are in the crowd, you are in this mass of bodies, and I think that's like a really. It's not just, accurate to that kind of slaughter, but it's also accurate to, like, that is how it feels to be, like, in a protest like that. We strove to make it feel claustrophobic, and even in the wide shots, we wanted to keep it chaotic and dirty. Always a lot of movement, smoke and special effects, sparks and fire. It had to feel grounded and real, almost like a documentary. I don't have much to say about it besides that it's interesting, but I am really quite... The idea, the like, wanting to make sci-fi in general, but also, Star Wars have this documentary feel, like that informed a lot of the cinematography of Rogue One too. I think is like really interesting. Part of it is that like documentaries are not what war feels like. So like trying to capture the documentary is not trying to capture what war feels like, but what we imagine war feels like. Like that, those are two different things. I'm not saying that was a mistake on the part of the director here. I think this sequence is really well shot. But that is different. And people talk about those as if they're the same. Conveying the horror of the massacre was all about the psychological and emotional toll it took on the characters rather than the violence itself. This is also a really cool thing about the episode. We wanted to see enough that the absence of gore would make the moment feel even more harrowing because it forces the audience to imagine the violence rather than showing it in graphic detail. The battle itself is chaos, fear, and horror, but what was even more important was the aftermath, the stunned silence, the expressions of grief, the brokenness of the survivors. We wanted the camera to linger on the faces of those witnessing the aftermath, capturing their trauma. One thing I wish that 208 had done a little bit harder was, because it is almost, it's not quite, but it's like almost like a bottle episode. So much of 208 takes place in that one square. You don't feel any of the rest of the like Gorman apparatus, you know? What are people outside of the square doing? What are people who are in their homes doing? What are people in the country doing? Are they just getting killed? How are they getting killed? What's happening? And part of that like narrow scope is because Andor does have a budget, but I wish 208 had like gone a little further out. Granted, it goes out onto the street, but onto the street just feels like the violence from the square spilling out onto the street. So, the absence of gore, that's funny. All right. I'm done with the zine. I'm never talking about the zine again. I don't think there's anything else that I really want to talk about. The rebellion has entered the chat is what this says, which is a little bit how do you do, fellow kids, but you know, whatever. I do really like, I didn't mention this in the Tech Talk. Half of this interview with Forrest Whitaker is dedicated to basically talking about his like nonprofit that he runs, the Whitaker Peace and Development Initiative. I think that's cool. I think more people on Andor, I like when people on Andor are using their platforms to like signal boost stuff. Denise Goff is like, who plays Detra Miro, is aggressively pro-Palestine, and I have so much respect to her for it. She's not the only member of the cast who is. But she's Irish. Of course she is. I assume y'all saw that thing about like the cops in Berlin banned the speaking of Irish at pro-Palestine demonstrations, which is like it's like the Discord moderator excuse, which is, granted, I think this is fair in Discord moderation. I have this rule on my own channel, but it's please for the most part use English, because we can't moderate what you're saying if we don't know what you're saying. That they use that excuse as cops. You can't speak Irish during the protest because we don't know what you might be saying, and it might be anti-Semitic. Anyway, it's wild. Banning Irish is like the year of our Lord 2025. Good Lord. All right. We're playing Disco Elysium. God, I really did forget to bring back the music. We were just talking in silence for a while there. Yeah, Hoopablom, you would have been very familiar with that. I did. German police are ridiculous. Yeah, well, ACAB. Unfortunately, it's not just German police. All right, let's make sure the game volume is good. I'm going to raise... Okay. I'm going to have to put like a timestamp in the description for people who are going through the VOD and don't want to see the Andor stuff. But I figured it would be fun to talk about something else. Continue. God, I wanted to play last week, but it just didn't work out. I would tell the story had we not been talking for so long, but I spent like 2 days straight last week just trying to wrangle things together to get like a prescription renewed. Like that's all I was doing. And granted, I felt terrible while I was doing it because I was, you know, not on my meds. But I spent so long trying to do that, and it just like it ate at my week, and so I prioritized getting the Zine TikToks and episode 35 out. Sorry, episode 30. They're all numbered in my head, even though that's like not clear unless you're on the Daughters of Ferrix website. They're all numbered, because that's how I like arrange them in my files. But yeah, getting the panel out, which I wanted to be out weeks ago, but I kept having problems. So I'm genuinely so proud of that panel, and it bums me out that it's kind of underperforming. Okay, not kind of. It bums me out that it's definitely underperforming, because I think it's one of the better edited things. Like, it's still got some jank. I'm not like an incredible editor, and the footage I got was not good. It was not good footage. But I really like the way that's edited. I especially like, if any of you, I doubt it, but if any of you have listened to the audio upload version on like podcast platforms, I think that turned out so well. The descriptive audio I'm so proud of. And part of that is that I enjoy good descriptive audio. You know, because I enjoy it, because it offers like a perspective that, you know, not listening to descriptive audio does not. Like, it's really cool to have stuff explained. But we do this less than we used to, but my partner is low vision, and so they generally just sometimes like to watch things with descriptive audio. We didn't watch all of Andor Season 2 with descriptive audio, but we did watch the 208. We watched the Gorman Massacre episode with descriptive audio because there was so much happening on screen and so much like subtitled text that they were just like, yeah, don't read it aloud to me. Let's just do the descriptive audio. So, surprise Andor chat on the Daughters of Ferrix podcast. It is always inevitable. I'm going to try to exhaust my Andor opinions in the upcoming episodes of Daughters of Ferrix where I talk about them, but I will never actually shut up about the show. And that, if that does not show how dedicated I am to it, then I think nothing will. I listened on Spotify. It was fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that, because I think it's good, but that doesn't mean that you think it's good. So I'm glad that you think it's good, Henry, because I was very proud of it. I really liked how it turned out. I'm very grateful for the audio version. Stuff like that is tough because, like, I have no idea I don't know who's in my audience. I don't know what people's accessibility needs are, etc., but I do know that Daughters of Ferrix started as an audio show. And I like making it a video show. There are things about it that are really fun, and I have a hard time, but I love editing audio. It's so much more, fluid to me than editing video is. Editing video feels so clunky sometimes. And so I always want Daughters of Ferrix to be, still okay to listen to. I prefer it to be good to listen to, but, no guarantees, because I'm not, a super good editor. But I never want to leave behind people who can only listen to it. And that is both as an accessibility aid and as I know that some of my oldest listeners listen to it. I know a lot of the show's following is on YouTube, but not all of it. And it is not first and foremost a YouTube show. It is first and foremost a show that is online and available on a bunch of platforms. And I enjoy a lot of things on YouTube. I watch a shit ton of YouTube in my own time, but that's not because I love YouTube. It's because I love online video as a medium. Why is the second part of my message not showing up on stream? I could not tell you, Hoopa Bomb. Oh, I assume less informed American Left. I assume that's the first part. Okay, what the fuck are we doing in Disco Elysium? I need to shut the fuck up. This is why we don't come to the talkie stream inebriated. I'm not that inebriated, just to be clear, but I am like, I'm chatty. I haven't streamed in like 2 weeks, and again, I am like thinking very seriously about doing some of my Andor research stuff on stream, just because I like to yap, and I also want people to kind of see the work that I'm doing. I want people to know. I want the patrons to know that I am in fact making things. Interact. Okay. I want to see if there's anything we should look at. Oh, medicinal purposes of the Pale, right? The medicine book. Let's...
Medicinal purposes of the Pale. The cover of this heavy tome features a number of esoteric symbols.
Honestly, coming back to Disco Elysium after weeks and having no idea what the fuck you were doing is a great way to get in character. Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, I guess. Open the book, I guess.
Flipping through the book, you find a number of sections on the general benefits of the Pale. A large pharmacopoeia makes up nearly half of the book.
I assume a pharmacopoeia is like an encyclopedic listings of like medicines, you know, pharmaceuticals, right?
You come across the following explanation. While modern pharmacopoeia are continually updated by so-called experts based on the results of clinical trials, readers will find assembled here the timeless wisdom relied upon by generations of traditional Seolite medicine practitioners, Mesk mystics, and Ilmaran folk doctors.
Wild, I tried to change the way I wrote it. It doesn't show up again. Apparently I can't complain about racist cops here. What? Ah. Like the automatic moderation or something. I don't think there's... Can I do this? No. No, that doesn't do it. What the fuck? That makes me mad. Like, I get why, like, YouTube stream chat would be touchy, because, like, I don't need someone coming in here and calling me slurs, right? I don't need that shit. And, you know, that is, like, a consistent, like, I really hope I don't have to deal with that sort of moderation issue, but, fuck. Cindy the Skull says, Hoopa Bomb, it shows up on YouTube. It doesn't show up on my YouTube. Damn, okay, well, unfortunately, I don't think YouTube shows me, unless, here, hang on. Sorry, I have to get to the bottom of this, because I'm curious. Where's the stream? Where do I have this stream pulled up? That's not even the right account. Jesus Christ. YouTube. Oh no, I want Studio. Studio. Where is it? Oh yeah, you go up here. God, I hate how this is laid out. Go live, stream, and this is gonna be my current one, right? There we go. Okay. Does it show me? No. I think I still don't have Hoopa Blom's racism accusations. What's this? Community moderation. Moderation none. I have none on. That's weird. Viewer posts, moderation basic. I have a... Here's the thing. It is not impossible, Hoopablom, that you have accidentally triggered one of the banned words on my channel. Because I do have some like really basic stuff on here. Because I have my ideas that are in here. There's stuff that I've seen, which goes in the blocked words, and then there's stuff that I've like other people who make stuff online and are women have put on, and you get like a little more basic. So I have like a bunch of slurs in here, right, and stuff like YouTube might not consider slurs. Oh, actually, speaking of which, I have a couple extras. Let's add that in. But stuff like ugly. Ugly is blocked. Not because I think everyone who uses the word ugly should have their message thing, but because I don't need to moderate that shit. I'm not gonna play that game. So, yeah, the penis stone problem. I thought it was the Scunthorpe problem. I guess, you know, similar issues. It's probably that what you described as violent, which YouTube is very strict about. YouTube is strict about violence. Releasing the fucking Star Wars Celebration panel this week was a little bit crazy because all of my stuff I mark as explicit, like on podcast platforms, and then every like YouTube video I upload, I have to think about like, oh my god, like how much do I swear? Do I talk about like at what point is the conversation about genocide in a way that's a problem? Like that's really hard to like actually sort out. But this one didn't have any issues. Like I was like, oh shit, this isn't 18 plus, or not 18 plus, but this isn't explicit, like at all, because I gave it at a panel that could have been towards children. There weren't really any kids there, but weirdly, the most family-friendly episode of the show.
Finally, something to calm the angry spirits that have been plaguing you.
I see more posts in live chat mode. Oh, you can change the mode. What the fuck? I should have live chat on. Why the fuck did I have top chat on? I didn't know that existed. Okay, well, this is news. Asher the Free says adding to the list. Yeah, it was the R slur. Because YouTube doesn't block that. But I don't need it in my replies. And I'm not gonna, at the very least, not randomly on stream, I don't want to like telegraph everything I have in the list because I don't want to give, if ever my shit gets brigaded, I don't want people to like deliberately come up with ways to get around my filters and stuff because I don't need to play that arms race game, but. Ooh, yeah. Hoopablums, oh, I see. Live chat keeps everything, and top chat gets rid of, like, potential spam. Less informed American leftists and liberals like to sometimes put down American cops by praising European police forces. That is true, and fuck them for that. Yeah, everyone bookmark that, because you will notice people doing it. And I get why. American policing does have some unique traits that make it especially bad. ACAB still includes Europeans. Oh my god, obviously. German police burned a refugee alive. What? I hope YouTube doesn't not like that I just said that out loud on stream. No one was charged. That's insane. When did that happen? What the fuck? YouTube would never block the gamer word. Yeah, well. You know, YouTube defaulted us to top chat. Yeah, it defaults me to top chat. I didn't even know I was on a different, granted, it says it here at the top, but like, I didn't know that mattered. All right. Okay. We're playing Disco Elysium.
It seems to contain descriptions of the medicinal properties of various ingredients that may be gathered from the pale, as well as instructions for producing a variety of herbal remedies.
Zenon says, am British, ACAB forever. Or you got a license for that ACAB. Of course, YouTube doesn't block it. Yeah. I have a friend who used to work in YouTube moderation. And I, like, moderating the really heinous shit, to be clear. Like, she saw some horrible things. But, like... I brought up stuff like that to her to be like, how do they decide this shit? And she just kind of like throws up her hands. She's not in the job anymore, which is why I'm talking about it. But is there anything in there about restoring lost memories? I guess that.
There are a number of CO-like tonics that promise to improve your short-term memory, but nothing that speaks to your condition.
I just want something that will soothe the relentless torment of my existence.
What you're describing is booze. You don't need any herbs for that.
Anything about curing an apocalyptic hangover?
There's nothing in here that speaks to hangovers directly. However, while browsing through the various descriptions, you become convinced that you could assemble something from the ingredients listed here. Want to give it a shot?
Hoopablom says it happened in 2005. His name was Orijallo? I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Thank you for including his name, though. EJ says, I hear the London ACABs are famous. Ooh, yeah. All right, book. All right, let's do it.
First, you need to choose a base ingredient.
Ginger root.
Next, you'll need to combine the base ingredient with an appropriate vehicle.
Aloe vera.
Lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Ginseng.
The ginger and aloe vera make this poultice ideal for the treatment of arthritis. It won't do anything for your hangover, though.
I'm surprised I got XP from that.
Be that as it may, it might have been useful to have such a thing for the trials you'll soon be facing. It's a shame you can't get your hands on these ingredients. Would you like to try again?
Yeah, let's try again.
Very well. First, choose a base ingredient.
Let's just go through the tree, how about? Let's go ginger root.
Next, you'll need to
Don't do
combine.
whiskey.
Lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, the game is loud. At least the voice is loud. Let me know if I turned it down too far. A few pomegranate
The
seeds.
tincture you've invented sounds intriguing. Whoever wrote this, would you like to try again? Very
Okay.
well.
Ginger root?
Next, you'll need to combine the base ingredient
shit.
with an appropriate vehicle.
Okay, aloe vera.
Lastly, is there
and
anything else?
ginseng.
The tincture you've invented.
Okay,
Whoever
okay,
wrote
okay.
this, would you like to try?
Sorry,
Very
we're
well.
just
First,
plugging and chugging.
Choose
We're
a
just trying to
base
get stuff.
ingredient. Next, you'll need. Lastly, is that you've created a delicious tincture of whiskey and ginger. According to the pharmacopoeia, it should increase your energy and focus, though in your experience, it's only done the opposite.
Unintentionally, that is a cocktail.
If only you could find one of these. Would you like to try? Very well. First, choose a.
Okay,
Next,
ginger root.
you'll need to combine the base ingredient.
Whiskey.
Lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Pomegranate seeds?
You've created a delicious If
Okay,
only
okay,
would you
okay,
like
okay.
to try? Very well.
Mint,
Next,
mint.
you'll need to combine the base ingredient with an appropriate vehicle.
Tea made from birch bark? I don't understand how this tree works. Why am I confused?
Lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Pomegranate seeds.
You've created a delicious tincture.
Again.
If would you like to try? Very well. First, choose a base ingredient.
Hoopalam says I gotta head out now. Got a TTRPG game in a few minutes. Good luck at your TTRPG. You're passing 15 minutes every time. Ooh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that mechanic.
Next,
Whatever.
you'll need to combine the base ingredient with an appropriate vehicle.
Tea.
Lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Ginseng.
You've created a delicious.
Okay.
If would you like to? You close the book, and
I got nothing from that. That's not true. I got some experience, which means we do have a new skill point. Should we spend it? I don't know. There's something I wanted to spend it on last time, was there not? Spend it on visual calculus. Right, I can't level up visual calculus. We could save it in case we find a thought cabinet thought that we're interested in, but I feel like that's what our backup skill point's for. One of the things it's for. Pain threshold, physical instrument, electrochemistry, sour fare. We'll just hang on to it for a bit. What is there to do? What is there to do? Let's go to the journal. Oh, yeah. We found out the plot last time. I completely forgot. I mean, I remembered that we talked to the Union guys and talked about, like, why they killed that one guy. But Joyce told us the stakes. And the stakes, more like thought cabinet. I wish, dude. the stakes are that these fucking mercenaries are going to go to war with the Union guys. And that would be really, really bad because they have automatic weapons. But we know that this guy is secretly one of the mercenaries. So we're gonna do a quick save because I don't want to fuck this up by like outing that we know who he is. We're gonna talk to him.
Right to work! Back again, eh? Here to show the militia support for our cause?
I have some questions for you.
Maybe you should ask them the questions. We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scott.
Are you a mercenary? What is a strike? Who are all these strike breakers? Ooh. Showing them the picture of the person seems like a bad idea. Because he's gonna be mad because it's his friend, right? Are you a mercenary?
Hell no. I'm just an honest scab. I won't have talk like that around here. You understand?
Is there a tribunal being convened by any chance?
Fucking bug.
He breathes out slowly, his giant chest deflating and his mouth slightly open.
How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course. There could be weapons aiming at us right now. Somewhere above, in the buildings. The other merc. Don't push this, he's thinking. This is not the time.
I mean, that's not gonna happen, but you know.
The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow.
Don't think so.
Okay, so we tried the tattoos and he just doesn't engage.
Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea.
Oh. Yeah, we ain't doing this.
Actually, I think we should maybe even get going now.
What exactly is your goal here?
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates.
Honest scab. No such thing. No such thing. And you're unable to breach the entrance?
Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is.
Wait, you can't give by measurehead? I got by measurehead. I kicked him in the face.
Yeah. I saw your ballerina moves up there. In a real fight, these acrobatics will get you killed faster than a bullet.
That's where you're wrong, bucko. We're never gonna die. Except for the way we died last time.
You caught him off guard. That only happens once. Now he's alert, standing on a narrow bridge, and my men are tired and hungry.
Why don't you just talk to them?
Like civilized folk, you mean? These native fucks don't understand civilized.
Jesus Christ, dude.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge.
Sorry, I'm moving a stack of books so I can put my arms somewhere more comfortable. There's always stacks of books here in this apartment.
He seems to be following his orders well enough for now. But beneath it all, there is a boiling rage and a dangerous carelessness. Do not be fooled by the programming. There is a precarious balance inside him, keeping him in check.
Alright. Frankly, part of me is wondering if I want to invest in one of these. Okay, this is good for shooting. Yeah, cool for trick shooters, snipers, jugglers. Cool for. Oh yeah, they all say cool for. I thought it was good for. That's funny. Fine detail. Perception, reaction speed. We could up perception and try that check in the cafeteria again. Reaction speed is the agility of your body and mind. Okay, and this is athletics. Athletics and stealth, I think, it's kind of both. Which does kind of appeal to me because we did try that fucking kick and get it, so... Is there not an option to throat punch the scab? No, the scab is secretly a mercenary for the company, and so... If we start shit with him, he's gonna kill us, and he's gonna kill a bunch of people, and it's gonna be like a whole thing, so... He's a fake scab. He's worse than a normal scab. Because he's not just here to steal the jobs of the workers, he is here to do violence to the workers. And, you know, the people around. Well, it's 15:50, that's pretty good. We're waiting for 9 p.m. so we can go up to that guy's place. Find the armored gloves, prove your authority to Titus Hardy. Who's Titus? Oh, right. The union boys in the cafeteria. Getting the hangman's boots. Yeah, we can't do that because he's gone. I wish it would take stuff off if I couldn't do it anymore, you know? Find one armor piece. We're not going to be able to do that until at least tomorrow. Find morale. We won't do that until tomorrow. Close the water lock on Wednesday. That's what's going to allow us to do these two. Ask Kim to tell you about the case. I haven't done that.
Yes?
Tell me about the
What
case.
do you want to know? You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you?
Brief. Yes, that sounds good.
3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute.
Why didn't we know anything about the caller?
They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex.
Why hide themselves?
There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that.
Let me just make this perfectly clear. Our job here is to find the killer?
That's right.
Okay,
Good.
well, we're good. I got XP for that, so. Oh, right, canceled. Because we chose not to ask the scab leader about the tattoos. I think that was correct. All right. Find smokes and smoke them. We're not doing that. Track down your badge. No idea. No idea where that could be. Maybe we should go talk to... What's his name? Is his name Gartra? The union leader. We haven't talked to him in a while. Okay. Ask another about the tattoo's possible meaning. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get anywhere now that we've chosen not to ask the scab leader. Explore the Whirling's secret passages. We have no way to do that right now, unfortunately. Singing karaoke. I have not been interested in doing that. Get 2 signatures for Everart. Right. Where? Oh, the nameless fishing village down the coast. Okay, so we can't get there yet. Get a reality lowdown from Joyce. Have I not done that yet? Let's go to talk to Joyce and try to like fully mark that off. Everart, thank you. Who's Gartra? Oh, Gartra is the proprietor of the Whirling Rags. I remember. I've played part of this game. Wow, it's really beautiful right All right.
You're back. Good. More lessons in basic reality? These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Too late for what?
For the big time.
What's the big time?
The revolution.
What's this revolution I keep hearing about?
It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
Interesting view of history. Would you say it was a bunch of apes duking it out? That's like a reference to the... That's a reference to the opening.
Why, of course. We're talking Duke Out Central. Full swing intraspecies warfare.
And the apes. Were they evil?
No. I would say the apes were neutral.
Isn't this describing all apes? Okay, neutral.
On the other hand,
She turns north to the bombed-out buildings lining the waterfront, then shivers slightly.
No, the tiny apes are doing all they can to be better. It's not their fault.
That's nice. I like that. Who got shot in the head?
those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head.
Woof. So no one's left over. 40 million.
She's not gloating. It's a relieved celebration.
Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed.
Did the communists and the anarchists shoot back?
Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Sounds like they should have shot more people in the head. Fuck it. Let's say that.
This does not represent the official RCM opinion.
Kim, stop undermining me.
Don't worry. Klaus Mazov shot 15 million people in the head. But that was all the way over in Grad.
I don't like that she keeps saying shot them in the head, because that was like a joke. Not a joke, but like, she was being pithy. You could just say dead. Like, they died. Because they didn't all get shot in the head. Like, that's just not true.
Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Oh, that's weird. Smart king, cowardly king. I loved that king. Fucking communists. I don't care about king. I'm gonna say cowardly.
I prefer the term risk-averse. King Guillaume was nobody's fool. He could smell a PR disaster brewing, so he got out alive, and his nephew Fricelle got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time.
Wonderfully there does seem sarcastic. That's interesting, though. Who got the mineral rights?
The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything.
An interesting game. Okay. And by liberals, you mean?
Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well.
Sorry, I just discovered I can do this, and it's kind of fun. How'd the liberals win it all?
They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
Maybe not completely sarcastic. Communists removed the aristocracy for liberals to rise. That's a good point. We were the last ones standing. If everyone got shot, who was there to surrender to?
To foreign intervention. The Coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights.
I wish I had had this conversation yesterday, instead of just trying to piece it together myself. Wait, you just said the Liberals already took everything.
The Liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The Coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people.
Who are the Coalition?
The Coalition of Nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-le-Clay, the armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
Kim is like sympathetic to the moralists, right? That's what he said last night.
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government.
The rulers of Revachol, and also the world. These guys are strong.
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
If always picking the option that doesn't commit to anything, then hell yes I am, and also not. That's so fucking funny. Practically as well. I don't think I'm a moralist, man.
Of course. Not easy to be moderate about head shooting in your line of work.
Interesting. When was this kerfuffle?
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question.
47 years ago?
The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Who started it?
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government.
Oh, and Mazov is Diet Marx. Presumably Mazov is also, like, actually a revolutionary, which is different than just being Marx, but... Pandemic of Tsarath, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authority in Grad proved unable to contain. What did this Tsarath do?
It made people overthrow their governments.
Wow, really?
Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. Pandemic only provided the spark.
Zenim says the Marx parallels are strong. Well, yeah, I mean, I know we got the Mazovian socioeconomics. That's our doing communism thought. So the actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark. I like that. Props to the world building here for including viral disease pandemics in the history, because those get overlooked, despite being massive forces for political change.
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end.
What came next?
Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
Our lives are very different from each other.
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think.
What is the zone of control?
A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations, and you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the Suzerain and the Commune.
Interesting that the Commune gets counted, even though it was so short-lived. Asha says, I never hear people talk about the Spanish flu on the influence of revolution at the period. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's like an increased interest in the effects of disease on people, because of the global pandemic a few years back. But I think people just did not know about the Spanish flu before that. Like, it was such a non-factor in people's understanding of history, and in many ways it still is. Part of that is that people tend to view politics as, like political histories, as, you know, lists of facts and not like the result of things. And I get why. It's because that's how it's taught. But natural conditions, including viral disease pandemics, like, go so far towards that sort of thing, you know? Yeah. They view it as a game of Civ 6. Yeah, a little bit, you know? Which I guess. I hear people mention the Black Death and the fall of feudalism. That's true. People do talk about the bubonic plague. That's an interesting difference. I wonder if it's just because it is so big, that it's hard to ignore. But you're right. That is like the thing, like that people talk about in, at least in the society I live in, you know, society we share. Like that's the disease that gets mentioned, because otherwise it's like vague shit. It's like, oh yeah, disease exists. And you don't have like big epidemics or like pandemics affecting political change. But yeah, I mean, people talk about like the plague and its effects on fashion, on hygiene customs, on God, what else? You know, medical practice, of course. And yeah, politics, economics. That one's real. A lot of the others aren't. And I say this as someone who does not know, like, I don't have, like, an encyclopedic knowledge of, like, viral disease outbreaks. But I do know that they happen. I do know that they're important. And people just don't want to talk about disease. And part of that is that disease is, like, extremely taboo. Because disease is horrible. The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol. What happened in the rest of the world?
Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-eastlery communication, telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
It's been like this for how long exactly?
43 years. Hard to fathom, I know.
What have we been doing all that time?
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. 08 to 19 was simply hell.
And after that?
The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere.
The world's largest tax haven. Were they?
No. It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing.
Many
The
such
40s
cases.
dispelled it like a cold splash. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
All right. That was super fucking useful. I wish we'd asked her that yesterday.
From the looks of it, the 50s haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days slipping away.
Asha says, Joyce is surprisingly neutral given her position, but she uses that to push her own politics nonetheless. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's not like the worst person I could be hearing from right now, but she is clearly not unbiased. The Harry of Wall Street. Yeah, so true. You don't seem to be thrilled.
I've no right to be dissatisfied. This shirt is Barbara Muscova. This raincoat is impervious to rain and is guaranteed for 100 years.
Whoa.
My daughters will wear it. No, it's just... We could have had so much more. Every one of us. If only we played it right.
What would you have done differently?
Good question. What would you have done differently?
No, her first.
I asked you. I would have sought a medical solution. I would have killed more. I would have made off with the mineral rights. I asked you. Who are you in all this? Cindy the Skull says, fuck, I despise her. I do appreciate how the game makes the ultra-rich capitalist nice and amiable while the union leader is, you know, would have been too easy. Yeah, I mean... Into the woods. Nice is different than good. I also don't think Everett is especially good, but, like... I'm not going to pretend I don't like things about Joyce. I like talking to Joyce, but I don't trust Joyce. Who are you in all this?
And I asked you, past-less detective of the Citizens Militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you?
I don't like I would have killed more 400 million. I would have sought a medical solution. I honestly fuck with that a little bit, but like... I don't know. I don't have the answers. I have ideals, but like, that's different. Part of me wants to answer, I would have killed more just to see what happens, but in a way, like Everett's smarminess and things, it makes it very apparent what he wants from you, and it's honest. Yeah, I mean, he's not... We know how Everett is, and we know we can't trust him. I appreciate... Listen, I like a game with... I like stories where there are good people. I also respect stories where there are not good people, especially stories that have ideological bents that still do not have simply good people. I respect this game for that. Can you quick save? I'm pretty sure you cannot. Yeah, you can't save in dialogue. What's our stats like right now? 15 on communist, 2 on fascist still. Sorry, cop 10. Fuck it, I'm flipping a coin. Heads is I would have killed more. Alright, it's tails. We'll say we don't know.
And you would have died, most likely. Not far from here. Maybe even right here, during the beachhead, defending the coast the day the Coalition took the city.
I should have said the other thing.
The cold runs down your spine. She gestures toward the waters.
No way. Oh, no way I wouldn't have fought with the communists. Probably, happily. Happily.
The wind stops. There is silence on the dark water of the Martinez Inlet.
Good. Not that it would have mattered. In the end, the commune forced everyone to the barricades.
If I say what would you have done differently, do I get to say something different?
Good question.
No,
Ah.
her first.
I can't say something different. Oh, fuck it. I would have killed more.
The cold runs down your spine as you...
I see. A tenth of humanity. The key of history is in the lock.
Hmm.
Keep turning at any cost.
At any cost until humanity is free and the age of capital is past. Until this insanity is crushed and Revachol reigns, a suzerain forever. Until it's all mine, every pigment drenched black leaf of money in Revachol. See, I was wondering. I was like, if you just say I would have killed more, what it took to do what? And I see now, you get to choose. Until the middle class, the gentry, and the workers are all gone, and the age of man are over. Wow. Until humanity is free and the age of capital is past.
The wind stops, and for a moment, there's silence. The cold dissipates into your parietal lobe, like a dissolved bullet.
400
All is
million
quiet
is
on
crazy.
the Martinez Inlet.
I'm a fucking psycho for saying that. That's so many people.
Capital is past.
That was weird.
Past. That's what de Briever, the leader of the Communards, said before she got a bullet in her head. Don't get me wrong. Capital is finished. But understand this. Its end won't free anyone. It will only lead to more suffering.
Oh, that's interesting. She's like a doomer. She's like a capitalist doomer.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM.
Kim. Oh my god. But I bet yours do, huh?
And what is your official position, Lieutenant?
There is curiosity there that goes unnoticed. Kim takes a step back, absent-mindedly.
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Ooh, that's a good line.
Understandable.
That's enough about the times.
They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
What is that? Point to Cindy the skull. Fuck it. Fuck it. I want Cindy dialogue.
The girl in the old lady rags?
Yeah.
Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture.
Infraculture.
Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags.
Infraculture as opposed to subculture is really fucking interesting bit of verbiage.
She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
Huh. I understand everything. Make it more complicated somehow, or explain the same thing but to a child. I want to say make it more complicated somehow. That's really funny.
I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat, all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead.
We're doing Mark Fisher.
All right. What next?
That's all for now.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
No, that's everything. I get why people say the Capitol subsumes all critiques into itself. I increasingly do not believe that to be the case. I think Capital can. That doesn't mean Capital does or must or always will. I think it's rather defeatist. And I get why. I get why. Anti-capitalists have in many ways been defeated, but deeply fucking ironic giving Zom. Is that the... I think you missed a white check at Joyce. You went for it? I went to Joyce to get the... to mark it off in my journal. To mark Joyce off in my journal. Ooh, not that one. One of these Joyce ones. I knocked it off and got a skill point. So I don't think there's a white check that I missed. I assume Zom is the publisher or whatever, and the company that made this game like sucks now or some shit, or like they got bought and they suck ass or something. How very foresighted of the writers of this game. All right, we have 3 skill points. We gotta spend one. Reaction speed, over fair. Man, what do we want? Part of me kind of wants more perception, because there's that fucking check in the Whirling in Rags. Okay, it's almost 4:30. That's pretty good. There's no way I could summarize it in a stream chat. I'll look into it after I'm done with the game. I don't want to know things about it.
Again, you find yourself looking at that big old window.
Oh, right. It's not time yet. That's why. Since the white check will improve, I guess I'll return. I'll just be patient. I'm not gonna pour all my shit into perception. It's not worth it. Part of me does kind of want to do one of the other motorics, like reaction speed or savoir faire. Shot dodgers, thinkers on their feet. I would love to dodge bullets. That does sound cool. Slipped by others. Urges you to be better than you are. It urges you to be disco. I do want to be disco. That's pretty cool. At high levels, savoir-faire will make you the king of cool, which is as much to say the most stylish douchebag in Revachol. Nobody will see you until you're ready to be seen, and then they'll get the full treatment, whether they want it or not. At low levels, however, you'll be a bumbling, feckless cop, unable to catch a pair of keys thrown by your partner without losing an eye. Part of me wants reaction speed, but we have 2 in reaction speed and only 1 in savoir-faire. More streetwise with reaction speed. That does sound nice. I assume people have like hacked this game and like upped all of their stats, and I wonder what because the stuff you put points into is the stuff that you hear from more in the dialogue. I wonder if you're just like hearing shit constantly if you put points into everything somehow. Okay. I don't want interfacing. I want one of these 2. Let's do reaction speed. Yeah. And then, do we want any others? Pain threshold, physical instrument. Physical instrument does sound kind of nice. Creativity. Logic. The thing is that rhetoric just sucks so much the one time we talked to it. Rhetoric is persuading others, but also enjoy rigorous intellectual discourse. That's so annoying. Cool for ideologues, conversationalists, would-be politicians. I don't want that. I do like suggestion a lot. I do like suggestion a lot. I could put another one into suggestion. I could get 7 suggestion along with 7 Inland Empire. That would be nice. Nah, we'll think about it some more. We'll think about it some more. The problem, there's just so many, you know? There's so many and I want them all. If you put everything to max, the game becomes a hell of competing voices telling you to do speed or look at footprints or impress the children. That sounds about right. Okay. Track down your badge. Yeah, we could go back to Everart, see if he knows anything about that or whatever. Who put the clothes in the trash? No idea. Victim's tattoos. Who made the call reporting the crime? The whirling secret passages. Just we have not. Buy the pants from Kuno. We're not doing that. Not unless we get like a bunch of money. Best to get apartment 10 for the cleaning lady. There's definitely someone inside. Could it be counterculture people? Like, what if it's Cindy? You know? When Cindy's not out. Like, I'm not gonna go after them. You know? That's some property owner bullshit. So what do we do? I guess we're gonna go to Everart. Like, I have no idea what else to do. We got $20.99 real. That's pretty good. Some pretty good money. Just click up there and we'll take it. Wow. The power of mouse controls. Unbidden, through my head, the thought went, this game would control well on the fucking Nintendo DS. Because of the, like, point and click aspect. Okay, let's go up. Alright, we're up here. This is where our coat was. Ooh, bottles. More money. Take all. Take. Shit. I'm fucking it up. Take. Why is it not? There we go. There we go. Okay. Is that everything? That's everything. What's in here?
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud.
This is where Renee works.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table.
I don't want to take the picture.
It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinier uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. She is smiling playfully at the camera.
I want to put that back.
René looks like he's about to smile. This photo must be tied to some good memories.
Why did you take that picture of René?
I don't want to ask him about it. I took it. Man, I shouldn't have done that. I just want to look. I'm a cop. It's instinctual. That's terrible. I'm making an artistic photo collage is so fucking funny.
Of course you are. What murder investigation would be complete without an arbitrary photo collage?
So true. Can I put it back?
This is the night watch.
I want to put it back. I just stole from him. For like no reason. Just to to be a dick? No. It's got a price on it. I ain't fucking selling it. That's horrible. Revachol Fair, summer of 91. So this is like 60, 70 years ago. I'm not stealing the picture. I don't want to take it. That sucks, man. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it. I thought maybe I could put it back, which is stupid in retrospect. Well, Everart's over here. Is there anything around? Oh, there's something there. What's this? Faster. Pile of cargo belts used for heavy lifting. One says Vermilion. Well, you know, same belts as what's his name? Snack. Oh, wait, it's this guy. Forgot about this guy.
Oh, hey, mister.
Right.
I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back.
Leo, in the future, can we keep the greeting shorter?
Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself.
You will take the picture and you will ask the old man about it. It's the law. I don't want to ask him about it. I don't want to show him that I took it. I don't want him to be mad at me. Are you the Leo who wrote the note to the Make More banners?
Oh, yes, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht.
What was that about the borscht?
Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done.
Power borscht, huh?
That's good.
Never heard of a borscht that turns little guys into dogfighters. Alcohol, however.
What do you mean by taking the soup to the men? Is it for striking?
Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags.
He's so cute. Hold up, who makes it in the whirling?
Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it.
That guy.
Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak what we speak. He's from Grad.
Stay masculine. Sure. Fuck it. I want to look into that.
Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir.
He didn't actually understand what you meant, and now he's just nodding along.
Does this man know he has a TV show puppet voice? I don't think he needs to know. I think he's perfect the way he is. Alright. I hope I don't forget this. Coffee in the giant thermoses is still lukewarm. Oh right, it's stairs. It's stairs. I gotta click with the mouse.
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes.
Sure.
Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today?
I'm told the union is involved in local drug trade. I've just investigated. I'm looking into your shady brew. I met Joyce.
Oh, that's very nice. I haven't gotten around to her yet. I'm very, very busy, you see. I hope you're getting along.
Darknut says, speaking of puppet voices, here's Everard.
One thing I want to make very clear, Harry, is that this is not some kind of union versus corporation situation. Everyone is just pals here.
Sure, bud.
We're all trying to do what's best for Martinez. Don't feel like you can't cooperate with her because you and I are such good friends and I'm helping you find your lost gun. I'm not a jealous guy.
Whoa, that's so nice of him. Suspiciously nice.
Everard, Joyce seemed to think the union is lowballing her. Why haven't you let her in to see you? I told Joyce that I met you. Are you sure? I find that a little odd. What happened to the previous negotiator?
What do you mean, Harry? Nothing. I let him go.
He made concessions for the company in private negotiations. Why would you let an ally like that go?
He's an old man, Harry. I wanted him to spend more time with his family. God knows how long he's got left. Harry, I have little people in my organization. I would never call someone a midget. What is this?
Yes, you did. Did that not happen? I remember that happening.
Honestly, I'm beginning to think you're a midget, Harry.
Jesus,
I'm
Everard.
only kidding, Harry.
That's
You're
not-
not a midget. No one is. We're pals.
Okay. Okay. Are you sure? I find it a little odd.
I'm just a nice guy, Harry. I wouldn't be where I am now if I wasn't nice. Politics is all about emotions, and I want you to have positive emotions when you think of me.
Okay then, positive emotions it is. You like positive emotions.
I told Joyce that I met you.
It's perfectly okay. Even if you've told her everything we've talked about, it's absolutely fine.
He seems happy about the prospect of you telling Joyce about your conversations.
Sounds like you want me to tell her about our conversations.
No, no, Harry. I'm perfectly neutral and 100% for transparency. I know people say a lot of bad things about the Debardairs Union, but we are actually squeaky clean.
Yes, he really doesn't seem to mind. Sure, he thinks. It's about transparency.
Joyce seems to think the Union is lowballing her.
Yes, yes. Low-balling, of course. This isn't a casino, Harry. Real people, real livelihoods are at stake here. But everything's a casino for those rich types.
He's onto something there. Henry says, Disco Elysium is a very ideological game that reminds the player that people often suck for non-ideological reasons. Bars. Important thing to understand about other people.
His expression makes it clear. This is childish and irresponsible behavior.
Besides, personality predates ideology a lot of the time. That doesn't mean that ideology is the only indicator of personality, but why haven't you let her in to see you?
If she actually wants to see me, she will find a way. Any good negotiator would. And I just don't have anything to discuss with a bad negotiator.
That's silly.
He doesn't want to see her. It's as simple as that.
All right, let's talk something else.
Of course, Harry. Let me just assure you one more time. It's perfectly okay to share anything we discuss here with this Joyce. This is a completely transparent organization.
He wants Joyce to think that he's in bed with the cops or whatever, or the cops are in bed with him.
I have no interest in what she is doing, but I myself have nothing to hide. Your business is your business, and I respect your privacy. Just remember, none of this is secret.
Hell of a power play.
Tell her about all of it. My brother's picture, my singing swordfish clock. Tell her how overweight I am and how I'm helping you find your lost gun. Tell her about everything. Everett doesn't mind.
I just finished investigating the local drug trade.
You've got a lot of spirit clearing up the drug problem alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now, let's talk real business.
I don't want the key to the city. That's weird.
Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then.
Where's my gun again?
Yes, yes. My best men are tracking it down. What's that, Harry? You're getting a little pale. Is it the words
Okay.
paranoid schizophrenic and lost gun in one sentence? Don't worry, it's just a lead. It'll probably turn out to be nothing.
I don't really want my gun. I would rather have my badge. I don't really want either, but I do want to know what happened to them. Can we go over a few details concerning the murder again?
Most certainly, Harry.
Oh.
Nothing brightens my day like brainstorming these things with you.
I want to hear what he has to say about Elizabeth. You mentioned a lawyer girl. Horribly condescending.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal.
She's one of the coolest people in this game.
By all means, Harry.
I can tell,
What's
just
on
by
your
vibes.
mind?
She knows when to shut the fuck up, which is not a trait that a lot of these people have. I'm looking into your shady brew.
I don't know what that means, Harry. Shady brew? There are so many moving parts in my operation, I can't keep track of them all. You know what? Don't even tell me. Whatever it is, do it. Surprise me. Just one thing. If you can, make it even shadier.
Okay, this is really funny. That was kind of a waste of time, but I do like that we kind of know a little more about where Everett's at, because he refuses to give me anything on him. He's like, yeah, everything's out in the open. He's doing shit that I don't know about, but he's so, like, performatively transparent that he refuses, like, I don't have dirt on him. I don't have shit on him. And he wants to make that really, really, really clear, and he wants to, like, maintain that. Can I go down here? I don't think I've been down here. Unless this is where I came from, in which case, please ignore me. Holy shit, this is this is new. This is fully new. Oh no. No, this is where I came from. There is a button here that I didn't know about, though.
A rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marsh and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block.
French to English. Marsh. Walk? Oh, it's like stop and go. It's like stop and go.
Marsh. On. Arrête. Off.
I see. That is tempting. The large crane above, a container is attached to its hook block. That's very tempting. Is it this? Is it this thing? I want to get in this thing. Okay, we're trying this. We're trying this. If we fuck this up, if something bad happens, I am reloading the save. We're committing to save
A
state.
rusting control. Marsh. On. Arrête. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air.
Oh no. Okay. Stop. Stop there. Stop there. Stop there. Stop there. Shit. Stay put. Thank God.
And with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. This crane was built with a purpose, which has now been fulfilled. To move this container.
What's inside the container?
Who can say? All you know is, it's special.
Let's
I
fucking
can't
go.
see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
He's so silly. He's such like a little guy with a train set, you know? That's Kim's vibe. He's a guy with a day job who has a train set. I'm thrilled. I wanna check this out so bad.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Oh, there's something special about this container.
Is this like your thing with that wall again?
Maybe. Let's investigate.
You do? Because I don't.
Why not?
There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one?
It just feels special. See, I know I'm playing a video game, and Kim does not know.
It's a cargo container, detective, just like all the others.
Zenim says, I was literally typing out that Kim has a train set, and you beat me. Yeah.
We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to talk to the Union, right?
Knock.
No reply.
Open the door.
You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked.
Fuck.
To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement.
Persuade the door to open. 3%.
Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
It was worth the try. Because getting physical wasn't an option.
Because what wasn't an option?
Using my body over my wits.
Now is not the time to get philosophical, detective. You can do that after hours.
Harry got psychic powers. I wish.
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. You're back before the cargo container. You're back before before the cargo container. Its draw has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems, and as it's always been, it's impossible to open a container with rhetoric. Maybe you're losing your mind.
It was worth the shot. I guess we have a new skill point in rhetoric now. Okay, fine. Fine. We'll leave. We'll leave. Still 3%. Dang, that's a tough roll. Yeah, I thought it would go up, like, to 6 or something. The container has a mysterious alert to it. Yeah, and it's not even blue. All the mysterious things so far have been blue. That is something that I do want to come back and check when Kim's not with us, then. Because I don't really want to do shenanigans like that, because I do want to sleep. But when Kim's not here, we're gonna go check that out. All right. Mañana.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
Do you know anything about the Hardy Boys?
Los Ardis? They're an independent militant group. A bit too high-strung, but it comes with the responsibility. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that. Except it's Everard's law. But really, they're just like you.
Is he actually comparing you, an officer of the law, to some
Let
the
it go.
man whispers a jaunty tune? A coastal breeze ruffles his hair.
Who do you think killed the Hanged Man?
The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing?
Everard says Titus Hardy and his boys killed him.
That's so. I haven't heard anything about that. But if that's true, well, he was an enemy combatant.
What does that mean?
He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts.
Were you involved in his death?
I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search.
Why are you striking?
We're negotiating our share.
Your share?
Aye,
How large a share would you like?
all of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process.
Are you a communist?
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't.
Right on, brother.
Just the way the world works, Boyadero.
Everard, what can you tell me about him?
I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman.
What does bossing the union entail anyway?
I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties, watches out for his own.
By that, you mean corruption?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see?
That's pretty funny.
And in this world, the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish.
The desk did not seem lavish. He works in a container. Aesthetic is kind of pushing it, but he's not sitting in luxury.
Okay, he's reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway, and moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
Oh no, Kim's not gonna be happy.
Not you, you would like to say. But then there's that weasel door.
You seem to have spent a lot of time thinking about the political situation.
Sure, I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
Yeah, dude's on strike. I don't know, that swordfish clock must have set him back a fortune. Isn't the swordfish clock kind of junky, though?
The look in his brown
Seems
eyes
dull.
conjures up an understanding. For him, having
Maybe I'm just
command
being
of his
judgy.
time is the most important thing. It all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's a follower of a 500-year-old Franco-Nigerian Boyadero code, itself an appropriation of Vespertine cool. That of a noble peasant or a traveling herdsman. True to yourself, independent in your actions, loyal to your friends.
Maybe I am a boyadero. Sounds antiquated, obsolete, passe. Fuck it. Maybe I am a boyadero.
No,
But what if, unless, maybe.
no. The man sits on the railing,
Oh, it's nighttime.
his hands reaching far and wide. Yet it feels as if he could effortlessly go even wider. If
Alright, that's that. What do we have to do? So it's currently 17:01, it's 5 p.m. We're looking for 9 p.m. in order to get into the apartment with the guy. What's in the journal? The special borscht. Fuck it, let's talk to the Whirling in Rags cook. I think right now we just kind of have to do some bullshit. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like we can't advance things right now. Because, like, a lot of the stuff is waiting for it to be Wednesday. We don't know where there are any leads about my gun or my badge or stuff like that. I have no idea how to explore the Whirling secret passages because it seems like the fucking door is the key, and I have no idea what to do there. Signatures can't do until we can cross the water lock. Frankly, the stuff that we learned from Joyce, what can we act on right now? Because we're trying to de-escalate the situation, right? But I don't know what we can actually do with it right now besides just kind of be around and monitor the situation. Let's talk to the cook.
the man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence.
Leo said you're friends with Manana. Is that true?
The mention of manana gets his attention. He smiles and delivers a whole slew of unfamiliar words and lively gestures. Then he falls silent again. They're friends?
What's in the borscht you're making?
The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language of his and then seems to wait for you to speak.
No.
Horse need more vodka?
Oh.
Okay, so it's vodka that keeps the men happy and in good spirits. Clever move by the Union.
Sure.
Vodka borscht! I love it, Bratan! Turn it the fuck up and then ask for some yourself.
I do want some. I don't think we're going to, because my character is an addict, and I'm not and a cop, which is a bad combination of things to be. So I don't think I can.
Turning it up seems like a dangerous idea, honestly.
No,
The place is a powder keg.
vodka. Cut it. Oh my god. Should I tell him to put more in? Put less in. Putting more in feels dangerous for the Union men. Putting less in might make them mad, though. Obviously, I could just do nothing, but that's less fun. I kind of want to say no. I can't believe that I'm turning this character into Mr. Sober. We're imposing sobriety upon everyone. How am I playing this game in the most boring possible way? Look, just listen to the necktie. Do speed and drink vodka. It'll be fine. If I weren't a cop, I'd do it.
The cook gives you a long, disappointed look, then turns the stove off and seems to wait for you to speak.
Door?
He looks up at you.
Fine.
Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Stay masculine. I hope I don't regret that. I really hope I don't regret that.
You see a heavy steel. The door does not budge. 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 The door does not budge.
Okay. Well. Why's the map got a little thing on it? Oh, right. This is the white checks. Or the... And the stuff that's... Like, this is stuff we can do now, right? Why can I not scroll very well? Oh, because I can just do this. Measurehead, Joyce, Authority, Sleeping Dock Worker. Who? That guy. Cargo container door. Okay. I guess let's try the ledger. It'll pass some time, you know.
It's the ledger you found. Oh, and the cool piece of toilet paper is stuck to the back.
Can I read the case files now?
It's proving to be harder than expected. You just don't have the intellectual rigor to patch the quilt back together. Try again later.
There is indeed a Joyce White check. Yeah, but it's esprit de corps. It's cop spirit. We're not doing that shit. It's esprit de corps, and it's like legendary. Like we don't give things to the cop spirit. The cop spirit we do not trust.
Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back. You don't exactly close them.
Okay, that's kind of everything.
Crinkled chewing gum wrapper. The worn label reads, Tutti Frutti. It smells faintly of apricots, with a barely noticeable twinge of cinnamon.
Why do I even care about this?
Good question. There is no answer or secret phrase written on the inside of the wrapper.
Where'd we get this?
Yet you're drawn to it. Drawn by regret. Stop before you hurt yourself with a Tutti Frutti wrapper. Throw it away, please.
I can't. I'll hang on to it just in case.
You carefully fold the wrapper into a square before putting it back into your pocket.
Weird.
Lovingly even. Despite the strange feeling of regret.
Weird as hell. Oh, this book, The Leading Intellectual Organ of Martinez Communism, offers a radical Masovian perspective on a range of contemporary issues. The cover features a stylized portrait of the late King Friso, with a pair of white antlers growing out of his head. Let me interact with this.
An intricate web of blue lines stretching. The pattern still kind of has an ethnic feel to it, but nothing familiar.
Who are you?
Gone.
What's the meaning of this tattoo?
For you to discover. You've gotten as far as you will without assistance. Someone close to the victim might know.
Alright, well.
The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner.
Trace a path through the grid.
Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue Saint-Sipar, over Saint-Brun and Martinez North. Finally, coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing. Although the map gives no such indication itself.
For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal and select...
Okay. That was kind of a waste of time. Let's look at this. I didn't realize I had this. Let's look at this.
The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover.
Why Friesel?
Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see.
Flip through the pages, see what catches your eye.
To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention.
I'm just looking for pictures.
Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white.
Column after column of closely set text. That's how you know they're leftists.
After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections: international developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note.
Read the editor's note.
Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée. Unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel, La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
Kim, I think this is a communist magazine. Oh my god. That's so funny. Do I want to do that? Play it cool. Fuck it. We're being excited to Kim.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
Yours in struggle. Yeah, yours in struggle, the editors. It goes hard, frankly. Let's see what they mean by local concerns.
Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dockworkers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta.
Lofty.
Finally, there's a brief article by the writer G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent.
That's kind of funny. If it weren't for the wild pines, all those moochers would be out of a job. Charging rent just to live somewhere is pretty outrageous. That's true. Wouldn't it be better for everyone if labor and capital could reach some reasonable accommodation? Why should I care? Charging rent to live somewhere is outrageous. That sucks.
The writer G. Martin remarks dryly that capitalists love wealth redistribution, so long as it's only redistributed upward.
Stupid.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
What is Kunst und Kultur?
It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture.
Is Mazov German? Is that why?
As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS.
Let's fucking go. It's Cindy. Hell yeah, man.
The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective.
Read the profile of Cindy.
This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer.
That's Cindy.
That certainly sounds like a certain delinquent youth
I want to read
who
it.
likes to harass you from her balcony.
I thought I would get to read it. Fuck that. What's tipped up to Renee?
The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has something to do with motor carriage racing.
Okay.
If you don't follow it, you only ever hear about the ludicrous sponsorships and obscene death toll.
Okay.
You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tourney.
Look, someone's gotta do it, okay? Wait, what's wrong with Tip Top?
Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes.
What's wrong with a good motor crash? They just keep it interesting. Who wrote this stuff?
Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines. Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka.
What's so bad about sponsorships?
Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tourney becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a fritter.
Right, but then you get to see them crash.
And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for.
No, I'm pretty sure I like it for the racing.
Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, it's the visions of brand names being engulfed in flames that you crave.
God bless the art critics. We do valiant work. I say we, loosely. I guess I've never thought about it that much.
That's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read critically for you.
That's pretty funny. That's a pretty funny thing to say. Kim, this article says that no one really watches Tip Top Tourney for the races.
Oh, come on. Can this article read your mind?
It seems to think so.
A certain kind of young man reads 1 or 2 books and suddenly thinks he understands the secret structures of reality.
That's true.
If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race.
Oh.
I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
He likes the race show. He likes NASCAR or whatever the fuck.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
I want to catch up on international developments.
This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine.
The EPIS nations.
You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border. Something about bear wrestling in Samara. Book riots in Yugograd. Face it, you really aren't interested in foreign affairs.
I'm not.
You're not even sure where most of these countries are.
It's true. Listen, some of these might be interesting.
You flip back to the front of the magazine.
Okay. I felt like that was enlightening. Well, at the very least, it was entertaining. All right. I think we might call it for the day, frankly. We have some stuff to do. Next time, we're finally going to get into that apartment to talk to that one guy. We can do that in, what, 3 hours? That's, you know, not bad. We'll have to find something to do until then, but I guess we could do the karaoke thing, but I'm not really sure if that's worth our time. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to do? What else is there to do? I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll come back. We'll get into the apartment, and then next time, we'll sleep for the night. Oh, and we'll get to the fucking. What's it called? We'll get into the cargo. What's it called? Crate? Bin? Darknut says, yeah, I remember day 2 dragged a bit for me as well. Listen, I felt like day 1 was fucking dragging. So far, day 2 has been a breeze. By comparison. Granted, we still have 3 hours to go before the thing we want to do. I remember seeing this post somewhere that Disco Elysium made countless people love and adore a man with an obnoxiously loud car that he's proud to own, which is rather a first. Listen, I have had some affection for men with very loud cars. Sometimes a car guy is fun to be around. Sometimes car guys are cool. Anyway, we'll do all that, and then next time we'll go to sleep for the night, and it'll be Wednesday, and we can like do the waterlock thing, go to the new area. There's gonna be so much to do if we can just get through the rest of the night. So I'm amped. I'm really excited. We spent a lot of today talking about Andor and some other bullshit, but I think you know we had fun. We had fun, right? We had fun, right? You had fun, right? Don't tell me you didn't. I'll cry. All right. I guess that's all from me for now. We'll stream in a week unless I decide to do some of my Andor research on stream. I might. It does mean I have to like do makeup and shit, which is like adds on to my workload, but I might. It might be a good excuse to keep my research process moving. Darknut says tons of fun. EJ says tons of fun. Zenim says okay, I won't say they didn't have fun. All right. I'm saving again. Save. And that's that. Nope, not quick save. I want main menu. Confirm. And then I quit the game. And that's that. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll do it next week, or maybe before then. Thank you for being here.